Where it stops, no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Well, hello, everybody. Happy Friday and happy birthday, Laura.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. So same as we've been doing. Sleuthy and I are going to be covering a couple of the depositions. I'm on a bit of I have like a deadline where I have to be off so I can go pick up a kid from gymnastics. So I wanted to get started as quickly as we could, although I was a couple of minutes late and it wasn't Sleuthy's fault. Whatever. She made sure you guys all knew that.
I feel like I take responsibility when I am the cause of the lateness, so it balances it out that I can shift the blame this time.
It's true. So today we're going to be doing FBI agent Nikkole Robertson and Trooper Ryan Winters, who I apparently keep wanting to call Eric, which is annoying Sleuthy. And so if I do that, just remember right now, I'm telling you, his name is Ryan. I don't know why I want to call him Eric, but I do, apparently. I even tweeted Eric and had to delete it and retweet it. It's
Eric Warren Ryan Winters.
I have no
idea. Eric Warren is
my brain wants them to be the same person.
No, it's so boring, man. So boring.
So because of the time crunch, we nixed Dr. Eric Warren's depo for now, at least. I'll see if we want to do him later. He has to do with the ammo
marking, whatever.
Yeah, the markings and things like that with the gun, or with the unspent round. So we're gonna hit Nikkole Robertson, who is FBI. Most people who follow Delphi know of her for her contribution to the search warrant for Ron Logan. And then we're also going to cover, like I said, Trooper Ryan Winters. I have not read either one of these, so I can't tell you what's in them or why they're actually doing depositions on either one. We've heard a little bit about Nikkole Robertson's from filings. But other than that, like I said, I mean, I haven't read them. I think Sleuthy has read Nikkole's. I don't know about Ryan's.
Yeah, I just read Nikkole's, and I'm like very disappointed. Well, partially disappointed in OJ. You'll see why, and then partially disappointed in the fact that I think it's an attorney for like the U.S. Attorney's Office, maybe, or something, and they just like continuously butt in because I guess.
Yeah, she has an attorney from work there.
Like she was allowed to testify or be deposed about very particular things, and so there's a lot of like cutting in, like you're not allowed to ask that kind of stuff. It's frustrating.
Okay, so that should be fun. So same as always, I will be reading all the attorneys. I'll do my best to let you guys know when the attorney changes. The deposition, the transcript of the deposition is up on the screen, so if you want to read along, I'm sure that there's plenty of Google Drives that have been shared along the way. And if All Eyes does pop back in, I know she was here earlier and said she's going to be doing work on stuff. But if she wants to drop that, or Sleuthy wants to drop it in chat, that'd be great. So you guys can read along on your own or have access to it. So we're going to be
noticed, and then we can start. I've noticed that every time I do like a mouth breather, like when I did Onion, and then when I did, was it Ned? Which one was the mouth breather? Ned or Rod, I can't remember.
Rod. No, Ned.
I
Ned.
get sick afterwards. It's like keeping my mouth open all that time. Gets me sick.
I'm surprised those people aren't sick all the time.
That or like God's like, that's ugly. So don't do that.
Don't do that, otherwise we're gonna get sick. Susie, yes, he is. He has been for a while. Yes, every day, which is good. Thank you for asking about him. Mama, is anybody's live chat replay showing black on replay lives, or is it just me? Honestly, I have not watched a lot of YouTube lately, so I can't answer that. Thank you, All Eyes. Okay, so hello to everybody. Sorry, I'm not doing individual hellos, but we're going to get started. So, Brianne, no, we are literally just starting right now. Do not go back to anything unless you just want to hear us filibustering as shibby guys to tell me I do a lot. Okay, so Nikkole Robertson is being deposed on April 17th of 2024. It looks like there is the Brian Irvin for the U.S. Attorney's Office, which is weird because we have the Irvin in that other one, which would have no reason for him to have been there.
It's that other one. He's the one. Brian. Irvin? No, Brian something or other. He's the one that butts in a bunch.
Brian Monahan. Mm-hmm. Monahan from he's the U.S. Department of Justice, but from the FBI. So, and then this one is from the U.S. Attorney's Office. And then we have Latrell for the state and Auger and Baldwin for Rick Allen. All right, let's see. Are we going to need any of these exhibits, I wonder? I think people know what they are.
It's probably just like the search warrant and stuff.
Okay. All right. So Auger is doing the initial questioning of Nikkole Robertson. So good afternoon. Oh, hold on. Let me see. Nikkole Robertson, having been duly sworn to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth relating to said matter, was examined and testified as follows. Good afternoon. Can you give us your name, please?
Nikkole Robertson, Nikkole Robertson.
And Nikkole, where do you work?
I'm a special agent with the FBI.
How long have you been a special agent with the FBI? Are there agents in the FBI?
No.
What?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. Everybody is a special agent?
Yes.
Or something else?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry I interrupted you, and I apologize for that.
19 years, a little over 19 years.
I'm sure you've given lots of depositions, or maybe people get scared off by this process, but just a couple, it's a weird thing to say, but just a couple of quick things to get it out of the way. And I'm not always very good about this, so I'll take ownership of that. But for Sharon's purposes, she'd be really happy if we don't talk at the same time.
Right.
And then she does it at the same time because it makes it really hard for her to transcribe. You probably already know this. Also, I'm going to try really hard to ask good questions. Sometimes I don't. Sorry. Give me a second.
Oh, fuck. Have I spread it through the phone? Uh-oh. Or she's choking on Dr. Pepper, maybe.
No, I choked on my own
spit. Oh, that's the worst.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, that is the worst. That'll take a minute to clear. I've honestly thought that I was going to die choking on my own spit. Like, they're going to find me dead because I talked too quickly and I choked on my spit.
Yeah, it's like dying. It's like,
yeah, that's awful.
Sorry. That just kind of came out of nowhere.
That's how it goes.
Do that right into the microphone. I apologize for anybody wearing headphones that I just coughed right in your ear. Okay, because it makes it really hard for her to transcribe. You probably already know this. Also, I'm going to try really hard to ask good questions. Sometimes I don't, so just tell me if you don't understand. I'm not offended or anything. I just want to make sure that we're having a conversation and understanding each other. So having said that, could you tell me about your background, training, and education?
I've been with the FBI for 19 years. I was out of Quantico, assigned to FBI Chicago. I spent my first 12 years there, and then got a specialty transfer to the Indianapolis field office to work crimes against children. I've worked crimes against children most of my career. I've been on our GRIT task force, the gang violent crime task force, for the last 7 or so years. I spent a year and a half at FBI headquarters, the Crimes Against Children Human Trafficking Unit, where I was a program manager, and I returned back to the Merrillville RA out of the Indianapolis field office, where I'm currently assigned.
I lost you at transferred back to Maryville. What?
So I'm at the Indianapolis field office, Merrillville RA.
What's an RA?
Resident agency, so a satellite office.
Grit is the gang violence?
It's a violent crimes task force, gang response investigative team. So we handle all violent crimes, including crimes against children. I am a crimes against children agent, so those are the cases I investigate.
So you're kind of a subspecialty under Grit.
Kind of.
Okay, fair enough. Probably all I need to know on that. In 2017, were you also employed at the FBI?
Yes.
And were you also a special agent at the time?
Yes.
How did you become involved with whatever we're not allowed to know?
Obviously, the Delphi case. So now I'm just going to start talking out of nowhere. Attention. And found out that they were missing. I don't know who he communicated with, but we offer assistance. Who he communicated. I wonder if that has something to do with Douglas.
Well, that's all redacted. Like, we can't know why the FBI was there.
Right.
Because I think that's always been the big question, is why the FBI was already in Delphi.
So, but we offer assistance. We are obviously required to offer assistance. Maybe you don't know that. Anytime we have a child of tender years or a kidnapping, we automatically have to reach out to the local department and offer assistance. That's probably what was done, because that's what we have to do. And at some point we went and helped.
What was your first involvement in the investigation?
I guess, what do you mean?
You said you went and helped. Were you asked to talk to people? I know you drafted the warrant.
We all went. Our squad pretty much went to Delphi and got kind of briefed on where it was at that point. I think it was after they were already discovered deceased, but I'm not 100% sure at what point we went, because we did not go as soon as they were missing, the day they were missing.
I should learn to write faster. It's compulsive because I don't need it since Sharon's taking the transcript, but I can't help myself. Well, let's kind of work through. I received some documents very kindly from Mr. Irvin yesterday, and I think if I'm looking at these correctly, it appears that one of the very first things you did was a search warrant for the home property of Ron Logan. Do you recall that?
I do recall that.
And how did... Sorry, I'm just trying to not talk. And how did it come about, if you know, that you decided to search the home and property of Ron Logan?
I know. I guess, why don't you clarify what you mean when you say you? Me meaning me, or you mean our team?
Your team, if you can.
This wasn't one of first things either. I don't know if you looked at the date on that and when they were first. There was a lot that happened before that. A lot that it was, I feel like 2 weeks afterwards, but I could be wrong.
Okay, I think you're right, and I think I misread that as February. So let me go back, and I apologize for that. I did actually prepare for this, even though it seems like I didn't. Okay, with an interview with, so you conducted some interviews, is that correct?
Dozens.
Dozens?
Yeah.
Okay, do you recall who you interviewed?
I think we can discuss only a certain...
Okay. And then her attorney, Mr. Mohanahan, I just want to be clear that the scope of this 2E...
Oh my God. I'm dead.
Did she really write 2E?
She did. Oh
No, she
Sharon.
didn't. Sharon. Come
Girl.
on, Sharon. You know it's a
my God.
request. TOUHY.
Oh,
2E.
bless her heart. I can't
Request
even believe it.
is for specifically interviews. What? Okay, I just want to be clear that the scope of this 2E request is for specifically interviews. Okay.
God. I just love Sharon.
Sharon said 2E. She's like, what is that? Let's just write it as 2E.
She's like, this stupid ass FBI bullshit with these weird ass acronyms. Fuck
I
them.
know, right? So Miss Ajay says, I understand. I think I know the names of the interviews. Okay, but you conducted more than 4 interviews.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like at some point you interviewed Jamie Werner. Do you recall that?
No.
I'm going to show you what I'll mark as Defendant Exhibit A. Can you tell me what that is?
This looks like a printout from our old system, just a lead.
Is that a document that you generated?
No.
And you said it looks like a lead.
You can see that it was written by somebody else. So the person submits the information, the tipster submits the information. That's not something that I would generate.
Right. Now, below, it looks like someone else entered some information on the bottom of that first page there. Is that information that was entered by you?
No. It looks like it was entered by Teresa Gata. I'm guessing she's the person that actually inputted the information. I don't really know.
Do you ever personally enter information into, is this Orion?
I believe we don't even use this system anymore, and not typically. We don't handle leads like this. That's not how they're entered anymore. I don't know how they put the information in or how Orion works.
That's not something that you personally are involved in.
No.
Okay.
I don't even recall if we would have used Orion. Our systems changed so much.
So do you recall, would you have generated a report based on your discussion with Mr. Werner?
It looks like a lead, and somebody put what I would have submitted back to them or would have given. These are my notes. These are actually my handwritten notes. Yeah.
So the way the process would work, you would take these handwritten notes, hand them to someone else, and they would enter it into Orion.
Delphi was very different because we were not the lead on Delphi. So ISP was the lead. So a lot of times there was an ISP person with us. So they could have generated a report and I could have just taken notes and then we would just cover the lead. So it just really depends on what my role was. Because we didn't do a lot by ourselves as just the FBI alone I didn't particularly do much by myself. Usually there was an ISP person or somebody from the locals with me.
I'd still like to know when ISP became the lead, because remember, Jerry Holman testifies that Tobe Lesenby kept the lead and it was always Carroll County and not ISP.
She's saying from the minute that they came on, that they were the lead.
So Jerry Holman just says, no, it was always Tobe. It was always Carroll County. Would you talk ahead of time as to who was going to do what with any certain...
It depended. This lasted, I'm sure you know, this was a pretty big deal, and it lasted for a very long time. And we were there probably every day for several weeks, working a lot of hours. So running down a lot and really helping ISP. So if they needed something, we would help.
Was this something where you were working in coordination with a certain individual, or just every day you would show up and this is what you're going to do today? Her attorney pipes in and says, are we talking about these 4 interviews? Ajay says, yes, these 4. Ajay says, do you recall how that worked?
For just the 4? An Orion lead? No, I couldn't tell you exactly how that worked for these particular.
At the bottom of this first page here, it says, covered by N. Robertson on 3/23/17. Can you tell me what that means?
That I followed up on the lead.
And it looks like what is typed on page 1 is almost word for word what you wrote on the first full handwritten page.
Okay.
Is that a fair statement to you?
Yes.
And at the bottom of page 1, it says lead clear, not a suspect.
Yes.
How does that process happen?
We would have run down whatever information we had to rule somebody out.
Do you recall how you ruled out, let's say, James Werner or Jamie Werner?
Particularly, no. Would have made sure that he was nowhere near the murders is typically what we would have done. is make sure that there was no chance that he could have been there at the time or that somebody was vouching for his whereabouts.
If you look at page 3 of your handwritten notes, you know that he works at Tippecanoe County Tax Assessor's Office Monday through Friday, and that's your handwriting?
Yes.
And is that what you would have used to clear the lead?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you if that was just it or if there was more. We would have typically confirmed it with a boss or somebody that saw him there, not just saying he works there, but I don't remember this one.
So in the middle of the page, it says clear lead in pretty big letters, right?
Right.
Whose handwriting is that?
Mine.
If you took a moment to look over these documents, could you tell me why you wrote that?
The same thing. I would have confirmed that he was either at work or not near the bodies or not near the homicide.
If you look at your notes, can you tell me what in particular might have led someone to the conclusion to clear the lead?
What do you mean?
I mean, at some point, did you clear the lead or did someone else?
I don't know how our system works at the time. So I don't know if I would have. We had a whole team. So a lot of times we would follow up on something. You would go to the person entering the data or giving the data because it changed. At the beginning of the investigation was not the way it was like weeks into it. So it really depended on at what point. So it's hard to answer that. We would have typically ruled out. It's not somebody saying, "Hey, I was here," and we just say, "Okay, we believe you. You were there." We would have followed up and confirmed with a boss or somebody else to say that they were there. So yes.
Mr. Mohanahan types or chimes in and says, I'd just like to interject, and I'm trying to give as much latitude as possible.
Dude, we're only like 5 pages in.
Sure, I don't know what kind of latitude, but the scope is statements and interviews of these, and we're getting into the process of clearing tips. So I get there's going to be some crossover, but we're getting to a point where we're starting to get outside the scope of what's been authorized by the U.S. Attorney's Office.
So it sounds like, from what I gathered, that she's only allowed to talk about these 4 interviews, whatever they are, and then Ron Logan's search warrant. And when they get into that, she basically, like, they bicker over whether it's like the return, who was where, how they usually do a search warrant at someone's house, the procedure of it and stuff. It's a big mess, really. I was not pleased with this.
Okay, so the scope is the statements and the interviews of these, and we're getting into the process of clearing the leads.
So he's basically saying we could talk about these 4 interviews, but she's not going to tell you how they clear. Generally, they clear leads because that's not what she was authorized to talk about.
Okay, that's fine. Was there anything in your interview with James Werner that led you to believe he was not a suspect?
I don't particularly remember this person. I really talked to hundreds of people during this investigation. So to tell you, like, we would have written it up. We would have followed it up as far as it could go and rule somebody out. That's what we would have done. We would have confirmed that they had a reason or that they were somewhere else other than where the girls were missing and found.
Okay, so I'm going to pause real quick. Shaboogies, is it really your birthday today too? Shaboobies?
Happy birthday, Shaboobies.
Oh, not until Monday. Okay,
Oh.
So happy early birthday. You're the 29th? Okay, happy early birthday. Okay, so Monday. Monday we'll get Shaboobies' birthday. And Judge Jessica, so yeah. I am in the same boat as you. We have just started going through them. I think we're on our 4th live, just starting with the depositions. And then we're going to start digging into the rest of the documents and stuff. So if you want to watch just I mean, like I said, this is only, I think, our 4th one going through depos. So that's where we started at to go through all the new documents. And so you can get caught up pretty easily to at least where I am.
Oh, I highly recommend going back to the first one. We've already been through all the funny ones. So go back to those.
The first one was for Elvis's was just something else. Okay. And then Shaboobies, what are you talking about? They solved the yogurt shop murders. When did that happen? And where do I find out about that?
Okay. She'll send it to you. Keep reading because you're on a time crunch.
I am on a time crunch, but I'm a big follower of that case and I want to know what's going on. Okay, send it to me, Shaboobs.
Today, she said. Okay, carry on. The yogurt shop and the burger shops.
Yeah,
Robert
no
Eugene Brashers.
Of course, it's a three-namer. Okay. Okay. So, was your interview
Press
with
conference later tonight.
what? Okay.
Okay.
Was your interview with Jamie Werner recorded?
Probably not, no. But I can't confirm that because I know in the beginning a lot of interviews were recorded. So whatever Delphi has, they have. I don't know what they.
Neither do I. So go ahead and admit A. One other thing on A, above this first redaction, it says Facebook link and photos are below.
Is that the same one?
Yeah, it is. Do you have any idea where those would be?
No. Again, I don't know how the lead. Again, that goes to our lead system. There's definitely a better person to answer how our leads are processed and how they're entered in the system, but it's not me.
Do you know who that person is?
I don't know what role that person would have.
Fair enough. All right. And the next person that I can find that you talked to, or the next item I can find that you participated in, was Mr. Logan's search warrant. So I'd like to mark this as Defendant's Exhibit B.
Here we go again with Mr. Monahan.
So
oh, God. And here goes Sharon with the 2E again.
How did it come about that you were the individual who offered that search warrant? Mr. Monahan pipes in and says, I'm going to have to object. That is outside the TUI regulations. Miss Auger says, so we're limited to statements within the search warrant and not the search warrant itself? I think I misunderstood that. Monahan says, if we're just talking about how she came to offer it, she can testify. But if we're talking about anything beyond that, it would be outside the scope. And just for the record, we're talking now about the basis for Special Agent Robertson's probable cause statements contained in the state search warrant she drafted for Ron Logan's property. Ajay says yes. And then Monahan says, oh, okay, then you can answer.
So, bro, why do you keep interrupting then, man?
Yeah, just shut the fuck up, dude.
Sorry, ask me again.
Do you know how it came about that you were the individual who drafted that search warrant?
The particulars of it, no.
And I'd like to kind of go through it if we can. And one of your first statements is that on page 2, paragraph 1, you stated that Libby and Abby were walking the trail in the area of County Road 300 North and 575 West. Do you see that statement?
Yes.
Where did you come across that information? What was the basis of that statement?
I believe that's where somebody dropped them off when they originally, I think they were out of.
Oh my God.
And then it picks up on you.
Okay, so redacted. Approximately 5:30 p.m. was the last successful ping of the cellular phone by AT&T. Do you know where that information came from?
It would have come from some report. I don't have access to all of ISP's reports, just so you're clear. And I don't have access to everything that was prepared because it wasn't in our system. So at the time of the investigation, I was working with everybody. Everybody was in the same room. Everybody was talking. Everybody was sharing information. So we were all collective. Obviously, ISP ran this investigation and we just assisted. So this was one of the things that I ran down and put together based on everything collectively. So I wouldn't have every report that was used to generate this affidavit.
But at some point you had access, correct?
No, I wouldn't say that I had access either because I don't have access to ISP's system, no. So if they would have generated a report, I wouldn't have access to that.
Okay. So there are a bunch of people sitting in a room and someone yells out, the last ping was at 5:30, and you put that in your probable cause. Oh my God. Blah, 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 blah. No idea what the fuck is said. Generated. You can have someone's phone pinged, right? Call AT&T, say, hey, we've got a missing kid. We need you to ping the phone. Can you ping the phone? You're aware of that process?
That's not always the case, but I'm aware of how that works, yes.
And in the last successful ping of the cellular phone by AT&T, is that what you're referring to here? A generated ping by AT&T due to the nature of the missing children?
I don't know if that was pinged or if somebody tried to call or if it was a text message or something, because everybody was still trying to call these girls. I don't know. I really don't know. There's definitely a person that could answer that question for you, and it's, again, not me.
Why doesn't she have any fucking reports on what she actually did? Like, where she got this information? She's just
Because
throwing it all. Like, where is the backup of anything she's stating?
because it sounds like it was all in ISP's system because they were the lead.
But wouldn't she have to have notes to be
Yeah,
able to write the search warrant?
well, she does ask her. OJ will ask her, like, did you have like a bunch of reports sitting in front of you and you picked, certain things or whatever? She does ask her that, but much of this is that it was in the control of ISP because they weren't the lead.
But she can't just write it without having access to it. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, she can. Like, if Teresa tells her that the last successful ping is at 5:30, she can write that down in her notes. But that doesn't mean 8 years from now she's going to say, Teresa told me that the last successful ping was at 5:30.
But in her notes, it would say Teresa said 5:30.
No, it would just, apparently what it just said was the last successful ping was at 5:30.
That's my problem, is doesn't she have actual notes that say where she's gathering this information so
No.
that she can go back to talk? Why would you not have that?
In my opinion, this is why FBI involvement really mucks up a lot of stuff, in my opinion, because they're not required to turn shit over. They keep their own stuff. They can throw away their own stuff. They're not subject to judges' orders. They're not, you know what I mean? Like, it just really makes things pretty muddy.
Like, there's definitely a person that could answer that question for you. And again, it's not me. Okay, so your note should tell me who the person is that can answer me that question. That's what I'm saying.
The gist that I got was basically her saying, someone at ISP, I don't know who. Like, you're not even talking to the correct agency. Not just the wrong person. You're not even talking to the correct agency. Because all the investigative notes are with ISP.
Okay, so do you have any idea who that person would be?
Probably our cast person.
Mr.
Oh, is
Haran?
this guy dead?
No, this is the one that left, no? And started his own business?
Haran? Isn't he dead?
Yeah.
Who's dead? One of them is dead. Somebody that did do this stuff is dead. Someone will know in the chat. So probably our cast person.
Yeah, I don't no, he's the big one that they wanted to bring in and they said no.
One of them is definitely dead. One of them in the cell phone stuff is definitely dead. No, I don't think it was a house fire.
Yeah. The I know who's dead. I can't remember his name right now, but I know who you're talking about.
It's definitely like a phone or no, it's not
Bunner. It was the guy on the other end that was talking with
Bunner testified at trial, guys. It's not him.
Not Bunner. It's not Bunner. Bunner's not dead. It's Blocker.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes.
Blocker? Hold on.
Blocker or something. Yeah, okay. Bunner's not dead unless he died since the...
No, Bunner's not dead. Unless he just died.
Trial.
Yeah, he testified. It was Blocker.
Yeah, that's definitely the one.
Yeah, he was the one who was pinging he's doing the phone pinging. It was like cancer.
Okay, so if that's the guy, then...
So this is Mr. Haran. So Kevin Haran is the one that they wanted to have testify, and Nick did not want him to testify because he said all the geofencing and that kind of info was not reliable, and he didn't want him to be able to testify.
Oh, and he made a map. Or maybe that was Watcher. Somebody made a map. They didn't want to bring the map in.
Yeah, so okay. Haran's the one who left Cass and started his own company.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Haran?
Yes. All the cell data and all the cell information came from him, so he would have generated something with ISP. And I don't know how they documented it. That's definitely some reports that you'd be able to obtain that information.
So would you have had access to the Cass report when you wrote the probable cause affidavit?
I would have been communicating with Kevin, yes.
And he might have been the person who said that.
It wouldn't have been just said. Yes, there's some document that has that in there. Yes. He's not shouting across the room like you had initially said. No, that's not how that works.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to paragraph 2. A suspect has been developed of a white male wearing a blue jacket with a heavy physical build wearing a blue cap and jeans. Do you know where you received that statement or that information?
The video
What video?
on the phone.
We call it the down the hill video like everyone else does.
You can call it that.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's the video that was on Libby's phone supposedly taken at 2:13 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now it
That
says,
is like really unprofessional, like when you read it like that.
right. Now it says, near the end of the video, the suspect speaks to the victim saying, down the hill. Is it your belief that the suspect was the white male in the blue jacket?
That the suspect, you're saying the man?
You said the man, white male.
No, you're asking me a question.
Quote, a suspect has been developed of a white male wearing a blue jacket, end quote. So I guess my question is, do you believe that the person who spoke to the victim saying down the hill was the white male wearing the blue jacket in the video?
Yes.
Why did you believe that?
The video was pointing at the man. You could see the man and hear the man.
You can see the man when he's on the bridge, right?
Yes.
And then you don't see the man anymore, correct?
I haven't watched that video in so long, but I know at some point you don't see the man. You don't see anything anymore.
And it's when you don't see the man that you hear a voice. Is that right?
I can't.
I can pull it up if that would be helpful.
If you would like to, that would be good too. Here goes Mr. McMahon.
That's not. This is, you've been authorized to ask some questions about the probable cause. We were not asked to bring up a video and have her comment on that, okay? So I'm going to object to that. But you can continue to ask her questions about the statements in her probable cause affidavit. Yeah, but she can't answer it, and so now you're trying to get clarification on it, you fuckwad. Okay, let me ask you this. Do you believe that you can see the person saying down the hill in the video?
Again, I haven't watched this video in years, so...
And we can't today. So, okay, all right. Now, why did you say it sounds as though he is directing the victims to leave the trail they were on and enter the wooded area below?
When someone gives you a command or says down the hill or directs you, it's like you would like get coffee. Like it's a direction. He's providing direction down the hill.
Was it because of the tone of his voice or the words he used or both?
It could be both, but again, down the hill is a direction. It's somebody providing a direction. Seemed logical.
And when you say the suspect speaks to the victims, can you tell me why you arrived at that conclusion?
There are only two people, at least is what we know, the two victims there. So we know the two victims are there, and then you can only see the suspect on the bridge, and we know there's a hill there.
So you assume that there were only 3 people there?
No, we don't assume that.
Okay.
That's all we know of at that point.
I'm curious. Quote, no person has come forward and identified himself as the person who met the victim and made the statement in Libby's video. Therefore, it is believed that the person in Libby's video participated in the killings, end quote. That seems to be a conclusion that you've drawn there, that because no one else has come forward, that therefore that person participated in the killings. Were there any other facts that you had that led you to that conclusion, or is it just the lack of anyone coming forward?
At that point, yes.
It was just the lack of anyone coming forward?
The video was posted everywhere. If somebody could have ruled themselves out or helped law enforcement, yes. At this point, that person is a suspect.
In terms of paragraph 4, let me go back one more second. Did you have any information about the white male wearing a blue jacket on the bridge other than what came from the video?
I don't recall.
Now, you stated there was a large amount of blood that was lost by the victims at the crime scene. Can you tell me what you base that statement on?
Their injuries.
Okay. Was there evidence at the crime scene of a large amount of blood?
Yes.
And where did you obtain that information?
I would have had it from ISP.
I'm confused by the statements in this paragraph. Quote, the large amount of blood at the crime scene, end quote. Did you have an opinion as to whether the large amount of blood at the crime scene or location where the bodies were found was enough to support the opinion that the girls were killed? That's where the girls were killed?
Ask me that again. I'm sorry.
Sure. So you say there was a large amount of blood was lost by the victims at the crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
And by crime scene, I assume you mean the location where the bodies were found.
Yes.
Okay, and my question is, was it your opinion in this statement that there was enough blood at the location where the bodies were found to believe that the girls were killed at that location?
I didn't make that. I wasn't there for that. That's ISP. So yes, whatever crime scene evidence there was came from ISP.
Would that include the next statement, quote, because of the nature of the victim's wounds, it is nearly certain the perpetrator of the crime would have gotten blood on his person/clothing, end quote.
Yes.
Did you have any independent basis or belief about that?
No, I was not there.
Did you ever see photos of the crime scene as you were preparing your probable cause affidavit?
Yes.
When you looked at the photos of the victims, I presume you saw their injuries.
Yes.
Was there anything in the photos of their injuries that led you to believe that the nature of the victim's wounds would have meant that the perpetrator of the crime would have gotten blood on his person/clothing?
It seemed likely, yes.
Now, you also said, quote, the location of the crime scene is approximately 1,400 feet from Logan's residence, end quote. How did you determine that?
There was some sort of measurement done, but I don't recall who did it.
Was there anything in between, or can you describe the terrain between the location where the bodies were found and Ron Logan's house?
I believe there was a hill, but it's been so long. We walked that whole area, so I knew that whole area really well at the time. Now, no. Now I don't know.
Well, why did you include the phrase that Ron Logan's physical build is consistent with that of the male suspect video by Libby on the Monon High Bridge Trail?
Why did I include the phrase?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's true.
So you looked at Ron. Did you look at him in person, or were you looking at photos?
No, I met him in person.
Before you drafted the probable cause?
I'm sure I did, yes.
And independently, you arrived at the conclusion that his physical build was consistent with that of the person on the video.
I wouldn't say independently, no. There was lots of people who had thought that as well.
But was that also your opinion?
That it was consistent with the build? Is that your question again?
Yes.
Same thing, yes.
Okay. You stated that Logan owns farmland and cares for large farm animals. Why did you include that?
Because he was a very fit man.
Why was that important?
Because of his age.
Because of his age?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, would that also contribute to his ability to commit the crime? Mr. Mohanahan says, objection. I don't know how that's in the scope. Ajay says, well, it's a probable cause affidavit identifying Mr. Logan as a suspect or a person of interest. Well, I know, but if you could just state how that's authorized within the probable cause affidavit. Ajay says how that's authorized in the probable cause affidavit, or why that, just what part we're talking about, just so we have a record of it. I'm such a dipshit. Let me try it this way. Did you include the fact that Ron Logan can care for large farm animals and appears to be in good physical condition because you felt that that was important to whether he could have committed this crime?
Yes.
You also included the statement that his voice is not inconsistent with the person in the video. Is that correct?
Yes.
And was that an independent statement made by you or belief by you, or did that come from others as well?
Same. Came from others as well.
Do you know, was there any voice analysis that you conducted that you might have referred to in arriving at this conclusion?
I don't know. I believe at some point something was done, but I don't know.
Quote, it was discovered that the panties and sock of one of the victims was missing from the crime scene while the rest of their clothing was recovered, end quote. Why was that important?
Because he had clothing, because we had clothing items missing
Why is that important?
so that they could be found.
Any other reason?
There's lots of reasons missing clothing are important.
Can you tell me what they are?
Could be DNA evidence. There could be evidence of the offender on the items. They could have been taken by the offender and kept as a souvenir. There's lots of reasons. They could be meaningful for that person. I mean, it just depends. Every crime scene and every crime is unique. It just depends.
Did you have any reason to believe any of those reasons that you just stated were important to this crime?
It's important to every crime anytime you have clothing missing.
Okay. You said you didn't know, but if you read the rest of the paragraph, you said that it's your experience, it's common for perpetrators of this type of crime to take a souvenir. So is that why you thought it was important here?
That is one of the reasons, yes.
Were there other reasons?
I just told you.
Okay.
I mean, did you want me to say it again? I'm not sure.
Well, I'm just trying to get information from you and see if you know anything, so it's okay. Was there any evidence that there were any photos, electronic or digital methods that were then downloaded onto computers, storage devices, tablets, phones, iPads, or other electrical devices? Is there
any evidence?
Did you have any evidence of that or any reason to believe that?
Because a lot of times there is evidence saved and stored, especially when you deal with electronic devices and communications and cell phones. I guess I'm not clear on your question.
Is that something you would put in kind of every probable cause affidavit?
When you have the use of cell phones and everyone has a cell phone, yes, we would typically add that.
I would think that would be just kind of normal part of what you're asking for. Is that true?
Yes.
There was nothing in particular to this case that led you to include that statement.
No.
Now, you said that it appeared the girls' bodies were moved and staged. What was your basis for that statement?
The crime scene photos.
What in particular in the crime scene photos?
I don't remember exactly how their bodies were. I just remember the sticks on them. But outside of that, I can't remember how they were placed.
Well, I have some crime scene photos. Mr. Mohannahan says, I'm just going to object to this. I think we need to cover how this is covered in the authorization.
Good God.
Hi, Christy. Ajay says, well, we asked to talk about the items in her statements in the probable cause affidavit, and I think it's important to know why she included that.
I didn't take crime scene photos, just so we're clear.
But you relied on them in authoring this search warrant, right? Mr. Mohannahan comes in and says, just to be clear, you had an opportunity going into this deposition to make sure we're on the same scope on authorized categories. And going through that was what's been authorized as the basis for her probable cause statements. It's not necessarily to cross-examine her on forensic evidence. I think it's fair game to ask her about anything that's in the probable cause statement. And we can go down that line. But now saying you're going to show her photos, how are we within the framework of what's been authorized? This is the same as the video. How is she supposed to sit here and tell you why she did something if she can't remember what it was that she saw that made her do it?
I think he's just butting in just
to
butt in. Yeah.
Right? I was thinking the same thing. I'm like
to
you
throw her off her
really have no basis for anything. Why are you even talking?
Yeah.
Like she's saying, okay, where did you get this info? She said, this is where I got the info, or I believe this is where I got the info, but I'm not sure. So it's like, okay, let me refresh your memory. Here's the items you're saying you got the info from. Now, in seeing them, can you agree that's where you got the info or whatever? And he's just like, no, we're not looking at anything. And it's like, that has to do with why she wrote things. It's not outside the scope.
Here, I'll be Monahan and Irvin real quick because there's like much more for you. And then,
Oh, jeez. Okay.
and this really is just going to end in, okay, carry on. Like, we
It's
just
so
interrupted
this
for no
is
reason.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm allowed to ask her the basis for statements in her probable cause affidavit. Is that correct?
You're allowed to explore. That's the testimony. That's fair game. Yes.
So if she doesn't remember because she didn't have access to these things, and I have crime scene photos here that might help her remember what caused her to put that statement in her probable cause affidavit, I think that would be helpful if what we're here to do is to determine why she said under oath that the bodies were staged and moved.
What I'm getting at, could we take 5 minutes so I can consult? Recess?
Sure.
Okay, then they come back, and Mr. Irvin says, Brian Irvin, on behalf of the government, in terms of the TUI authorizations about the probable cause statements, I just request that if there's a statement you're referring to, I think it's appropriate to show her the photos and ask her questions, so long as it's tied back to this probable cause.
Well, no shit, Sherlock. That's the whole point.
Right?
Yeah, that's all I want to know is the basis for her statement.
Which is fine. So if we can tie that, that's fine. And I just ask that we try to make that as clear as possible.
Sure, no problem.
I mean, it was pretty clear to me. It became less clear when you kept interrupting.
Pretty clear to me too.
All right, I'm back to being Robertson.
Okay.
I think.
Chelsea, I don't remember his first name. It's up at the top of this doc though. Douche nozzle, I think it was, or rhymes with douche nozzle. Okay. I think for identification purposes, I'm going to mark these individually. That way, if there's something in here that helps you, I probably should have done this while everyone was out of the room.
Yeah.
Okay. Agent Robertson. I'm going to show you exhibits C through G, and those are crime scene photographs. Can you tell me, is there anything in any of those that helps you recollect? Jim, do you need a copy? Mr. Latrell says, I would want them at some point. Okay. Is there anything in there that helps you recall why you concluded that statement?
That the bodies were staged? Is that your question?
Well, let's break it down a little bit. You wrote that it appeared that the bodies were moved is the first part of the statement. Is there anything in these photos that helps you recall why you believe that the bodies had been moved?
Yes.
Can you please tell me what that is?
This isn't someone who had just fallen. These victims hadn't just fallen. They seemed to be placed.
What is it about the bodies that made you believe that they had not just fallen?
The sticks and branches over them.
Could they have fallen and someone placed sticks on them later?
Of course.
So again, if we're talking about had the bodies been moved, is there something specific about maybe the position of the bodies in the landscape, the position of the bodies in terms of extremities and such, marks on the bodies?
They seem to be straightened out, just placed.
Placed?
Yes.
And again, is there something in particular that made you think that they had been placed?
The way their bodies are resting. Yes.
And what about where their bodies are resting?
How they're lying, how their bodies are lying.
In terms of where their arms and legs are, or physically in that location, where they're located?
It's how their limbs look.
Is there a picture that tells that more than another in those group of pictures?
Mr. Irvin butts in. I just want to object to the question. I think she's answered that. It's the manner in which the bodies were laid. I think photos were showed to her to help her recollect the crime scene in general, but I think what you're asking now is specific as to which of the photos upon which she drew that conclusion. I don't think that's within the scope. I think she's answered your question.
Okay, this is bullshit. This is such bullshit. She says they were moved and posed, but has no idea why? She thinks the bodies were moved or posed, just because of the way that they are.
Almost like somebody else brought it up.
There's a reason she thought that. Why can't she just say why she thought that?
I don't know.
So Mr. Baldwin pipes in and says, am I allowed to ask a question or no?
And Monahan says, are you asking me?
Yeah, I don't want to violate any rules. I think I have a simple question. I'm sorry. Ajay says, go ahead.
Mr. Monahan says, we're just here to represent the witness. You guys.
Baldwin says, I'm sorry. I don't know who to. Ajay says there's just so many people in the room. Baldwin says, one thing I was wondering about is, as far as the verb moved, did you think there were any drag marks, or did anybody that's part of your team, was that one of the reasons that the word moved was used?
I don't recall.
Baldwin says, now I know who everybody is. Go ahead. Sorry. Ajay says, no problem. This is very complicated to get to a damn answer on something that should be really fucking easy.
Mm-hmm.
They were moved because one had drag marks along her bum, and one, they're posed because of whatever. You know what I mean? Because there's blood here, and then there's blood here, and then there's blood here. I don't think they can prove they were moved.
I think the staging is a little bit easier to prove because how the sticks got there.
Right.
But the moving, well, she could have said something as simple as where they were located is not where a majority of the blood is. The majority of the blood is at a tree somewhere else. So they had to have been moved from there to there.
Hmm.
I mean, that's a really simple answer. We think they were moved because all of Libby's blood that's on her hands and feet is plumb over at that tree over there, and yet her body's over here. And it didn't get over there from her getting killed right here.
Right. But I don't know why that's not just something she would be able to say. When you said the bodies had been moved, and I just want to parcel this out, initially you said it didn't look like they had just fallen. And I presume by that you mean it didn't look like they had just kind of fallen naturally. Is that a correct assumption?
Yes.
Was there any evidence that you saw or relied on that indicated where they had been moved from?
I can't recall.
Do you recall seeing any kind of drag marks? Did you already ask that to Andy? Baldwin says, yeah, I did. Ajay says, okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Baldwin said I should have just shut up. Ajay says, no, you're fine. I'm sorry. I'm sure someone will tell me to. Like you're trying to tell her to shut up. Let me get back to one more thing before we put those up. In terms of your statement that the bodies appeared to have been staged, what was the basis for that statement?
The same thing.
The position of the bodies on the ground?
And the branches.
And the branches, okay. Baldwin says, may I? Ajay says, go ahead. So Baldwin then asks, I think you said what you drafted there, it was really a team kind of effort. Listening and reading other reports and listening to other people. Is that correct?
Any one of our affidavits typically aren't just one person. A lot of your information, you rely on other law enforcement officers. And in this case, that definitely was the case.
Okay, so anybody that was involved in helping you out and drafting that, they would have also been in agreement, I'm guessing, that it appeared that the bodies were moved and staged. Is that correct?
That is not correct.
So there were people that did not agree with that statement?
I couldn't tell you what everybody agreed with or didn't agree with, but I can tell you that just like humans in general, we all have a different opinion or a different conclusion. So, of course, I don't know that everybody thought. I don't know what everybody thought.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you for saying that. You're correct. Did anybody out loud ever say, I don't think those bodies that you know of appear to be moved or staged?
Monahan says, in terms of the probable cause statement.
Yes.
We're trying to give some latitude here, but it needs to come back to this because we're now just talking generalities.
Thank you. I'll try to do that. Mr. Baldwin then asks, when you're putting the probable cause affidavit together, do you show it to other people or read it out loud before you submit it? In my world, I'll read stuff and I'll say, quote, does everybody agree with that? End quote. Am I off on that? Or anything like that. Was there anybody that said to you, I don't know that I agree with that in terms of placing that in a probable cause affidavit that the bodies were staged and moved?
We don't have a meeting where we read our affidavits out loud and people I don't think I've ever had that happen or ever been involved in a meeting like what you're saying.
Like a brainstorming meeting, basically. Yeah. Well, did anybody after it was filed ever say to you, I don't know that I agree that it looks like the bodies were.
And then Irvin says, I just object. And
I
Monahan
just
says,
object.
object. That's outside of the scope.
I'll take your word for it.
Monahan says, I could say for the record, you're asking for something that happened after the probable cause, not the basis of her statements.
You objected to everything that was asked for the basis of her statements. So you're just going to continue to object.
I'm shocked that this goes on for 90 pages, being as how they hardly let her say anything.
Yeah.
Most of it is objections.
She's not forthcoming anyway, which is just also very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so last question then about this, and then sorry, Jennifer. Leading up to that, did you ever hear anybody say anything contrary to what you wrote in the probable cause affidavit relating to the thought that the bodies looked like they had been moved or staged?
I'm sure there were people that thought they weren't staged or moved, but do I know? No. I don't know who it is that would have said that or at that point. Because in the very beginning, we were just trying to figure out what happened, and we were a little behind because we obviously weren't out there. We, as in the FBI, were not out there when the bodies were discovered. We didn't have any participation in the collection of evidence either as the FBI. So everything was after the fact. So what we viewed was after the fact, and the crime scene pictures that we seen were after the fact.
That's not true.
I know. I thought that exact thing because they did have people out there collecting evidence.
Correct.
So.
Thank you. Okay, Ajay comes back and says, if someone said to you, I don't think those bodies were moved or staged, is that something you would have included in your probable cause affidavit? Or maybe that would have made you reconsider including that statement that appeared that the bodies had been moved or staged?
I'm sure if somebody argued it, it may have been. I just don't remember having a conversation with any person where they were like, no, the bodies were not staged or moved. No, I don't recall a conversation like that. I don't recall.
Had someone said that to you, would that have made you think about including that statement in your probable cause affidavit?
Monahan again. Object. Outside the scope. You're introducing hypotheticals.
Oh my God. Now, you wrote the search warrant. Is that right? We've covered that. Was there anyone in particular who you can recall what helped you draft that?
I don't remember who I know I worked with. I know I worked with the prosecutor, obviously. I don't remember all the investigators that were there at the time, no.
And you wrote the search warrant. You were employed by the FBI. Who executed it?
Lights out.
Who went to the house? Is that what you're asking me? Or are you asking me something else?
What agency executed the search warrant?
ISP was the lead.
Have you ever written a search warrant and had another agency execute it? Mr. Irvin. Objection. It's outside the scope. Ajay says, I believe our original request was to ask about items seized. I don't see that addressed in here.
Monahan says, items returned from the search of Ron Logan's property.
Okay, I would think that that would relate to that.
You specifically asked about other practices for other search warrants. If you want to ask about the items returned from the search, that's been authorized.
All right. When executing the search warrant, what was your role?
I helped search.
And what all did you do in helping search?
Looked through the home.
All of it?
The home was big. You typically stay in an area where you kind of break off in teams, essentially. So we go room by room until everything is done and cleared.
You recall what rooms you searched?
I believe I was in the living room and maybe parts of the kitchen. Those were probably the areas I was in most. I remember going through books and looking through things.
Now, did you yourself, as a part of a team, seize any items?
Anything would have been collected by ISP. So we would have found it and then turned it over to ISP.
I like the pumpkin.
Do you recall finding any items?
I know there was a list, but I don't remember finding them.
Do you recall handing any items over to ISP?
I don't.
You said you reviewed the search warrant last night. Did you also review the items that had... May I see the photos, please? I'll show you Exhibit H. Do you recall reviewing that?
Yes.
And did you generate this report?
Yes.
All right. And is this something you reviewed last night?
This morning.
this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So you found a blue sweatshirt in the laundry room. Does that help you remember?
No.
Let's look at it again.
No. I mean, I saw it.
So you don't remember collecting a blue sweatshirt.
I don't.
When you collect evidence, would you normally take photographs?
I would not. In this case, we usually have a photographer when we have an investigation or a search warrant. We would have a photographer and they would take a picture. I don't typically search and take photos.
Do you recall, it looks like you were with, they say Rick Davies, but it's Rich, I believe, Davies, the entire time, or did the two of you break off too?
Rich Davies?
Yes.
No, there were so many people there. I wouldn't have been side by side with anyone.
Okay. So I think earlier you said you broke off into teams. Is that right?
Yeah, we break off, yes.
Into teams?
To help you understand
Sure, thank you.
teams, I'm saying there's a group of people that go. So there's investigators in one room. So if there's people in a room and they're already searching, depending on the size of the room, because sometimes a room can only fit one person. So one person will stay in a room. Sometimes a room is large and it fits several people. So it depends on what area was being searched. And so if there's enough people, or if there's an area that has or has not been covered, we would just kind of move on until everything has been completely covered. So when you're finished with what you're doing, then you just move on to the next area that has not been searched or cleared.
I think when you said earlier that you broke off into teams, that led me to believe that there was a team that you were a part of and you went to the living room and the kitchen. Is that inaccurate?
Yes, you definitely misunderstood. And that is my fault completely.
It's all right. Wait. Oh, let's see.
We don't name people and we don't say, hey, you and I are together and then we're going to go together. No, it's who's available. Your whole law enforcement team in this case, because we were working with our law enforcement partners. A lot of times we do that. It's not just always FBI and it's not always just the locals. Sometimes we help. We even help the locals, even on cases we aren't the lead on, like in this case. We had other law enforcement agencies, the local, state, feds. We were all just there as one collective team. So when I say team, we were there as a team, all of us together.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall how many people that had been there?
No.
Is there a reason why you wrote this report with Agent Davies?
Probably because those are the items that we would have turned over to ISP that we actually physically laid eyes on and found.
Okay, so were you the only two FBI agents present?
I doubt it, but I don't know. I can't remember who all was there during the search.
Right. Were you with Agent Davies when you located a calendar hanging on the kitchen wall?
If it says I was, then I was, yes. I don't remember it, though. It's so vague.
Mr. Mohanahan comes in and says, you can refer to this if you're going to be answering questions.
I just don't recall it, yes.
And we don't get to know about that either.
Yes, again, yes.
When you said there was a note on it, was it written on the paper of the calendar or was there like a note attached to the calendar? Do you recall?
I believe it was actually on the day they were missing. I believe there was some sort of note on like the square of the day.
I think your search warrant or that document states that there were notes about not only the disappearance, but the locating. Was there just one note that included all of that information? Or was there more than one note on the calendar, if you recall?
I don't recall.
Do you recall if anyone looked at the trail camera to see if there was a memory card or anything? Was it that type of trail cam?
I don't remember.
Were you ever put out in the property of Ron Logan? Were you ever put out? Were you ever out? Are you put out on the property? Where?
His property is big. It was all over.
You went everywhere?
Everywhere? No, but was I on his property? Yes.
Do you recall where you were?
On his property.
Well, we've established it's big, right?
Uh-huh.
So were you just kind of back and forth from the house and crossing the yard? There, I think, are 7 outbuildings. Were you in any of the outbuildings, around any of the outbuildings?
I believe I was in an outbuilding. I know he had horses. I know his horses were kind of wild. He just had a big property. I was in the backyard. I was out in the front yard. I was out in the side yard. I don't know where his property picked up and left off. I haven't been out there in years. Yeah, I don't recall exactly where, but I was in his home.
The fact that she has no documented notes on what she did is just mind-blowing to me. What she did, where she got information, where she searched, what she found. Like, imagine this person being in charge of your missing child.
Monahan's finna bust this up again.
Mr. Mohanahan says, I'm just curious. Are you talking about items returned, or are we just talking about the overall search right now? I guess I just want clarification.
Like, I thought both were covered, so what does it matter?
Well, she's talking about the damn search, but she has to keep going because Nikkole Robertson won't answer the fucking question. Yeah, yes, Jer. Completely useless. Is she still FBI, Mav? Yeah, she is.
Crimes against children.
Yeah, I thought it was just a coffin dapper thing, but apparently it's just an FBI thing. Sure, well, I think in part in looking at the items taken, Mr. Mohanahan says, we're getting to like items that were recovered, right? Or are we just maybe, I hope we're getting there, but your witness won't answer the fucking question. Mr. Mohanahan says, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm just trying to follow along.
You do mean to interrupt. You interrupt every time meaningfully.
Yes. Ajay says, you're fine. I'm trying to follow the rules and I'm not doing a very good job. Mohanahan says, no. She says, so I apologize. He says, it's a unique situation. She says, yes, it is. He says, just go ahead. She says, thank you. Can you recall any of those outbuildings and can you describe any of them?
I don't recall his outbuildings. I remember like maybe a farm type building because I remember animals, but I don't remember if it was completely closed or opened or open. I know he had animals and no, I don't recall details of stuff.
What about an aquarium? Did you see an aquarium?
I don't remember.
Go back to the sweatshirt just for a moment. You stated that you found it in the laundry room. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Could you tell whether it had been recently laundered?
I don't recall.
Did anyone from the BAU help you in drafting the search warrant?
Are you talking about a particular question about that? I mean, what part in BAU?
What part of the BAU? Did anyone in the BAU help you in?
No. Would they have drafted or helped me draft the location?
Or given you any information to include?
If you want to refer to a particular portion of this, I can maybe answer that.
Mr. Baldwin says staged.
Staged. Is that what? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that you're whispering that over there, but staged.
Fucking Baldwin!
I know BAU was present. Could they have provided some information? They may have, yeah.
Do you recall who any of those people were?
I don't recall the agents' names or who, but I know BAU definitely assisted. I don't know at what point, though.
Sure. When you say assisted, you mean assisted in the investigation or assisted in helping you draft the search warrant?
Anybody that assisted in the investigation could have helped or provided information that's included in this affidavit. So my information, again, is still not just me making this up.
Sure.
Or finding this. It's people providing information. So yes, they could have given me information that I thought was beneficial or used. So they could have said that the bodies were staged, and that would have been where I got that from as well. Another piece of it, but I don't recall at what point or what report or document they produced. But I do remember BAU having input.
Is there anything you can go back and look at to help you determine what you might have looked at or who you may have spoken to? Did you have notes that you took as you were drafting this? Yeah, thank you, Jennifer Auger.
ISP would have provided reports. I mean, there could have been a lot of things that were generated at the time. I don't have every piece in front of me, of course, that I used to produce this.
Where are your own fucking notes? Where is your own report? Nikkole Robertson. But my question is there anything you can go back and look at? You know, sometimes when I'm drafting things, I have a checklist or things I want to make sure I include that I got from this, that, or the other. Is there anything like that that you would have relied on in drafting your search warrant? Yes.
I'm sure there was, yes.
What would that have been?
It could have been reports.
Oh my God. Was it reports or not? I guess what I'm asking is there anything that we could go back and look at that might help you remember some of the things you did and some of the statements you made and why you made them?
If I could see ISP's reports and BAU's reports and everybody, if I could see the entire case in front of me, absolutely. So if I had every document that was prepared or that is made available, then yes, that would be helpful. But I'm not the case agent. I was not the case agent. I have never been the case agent on this.
Who was the case agent?
Initially, I'm not sure in the very beginning.
Do you know after the very beginning?
I believe Sean is the case agent now because I just looked at this. Sean, I'm drawing a blank on his last name too. Rich Davies was the case agent for a little while too, and he may have been from the very beginning, but I'm not 100% positive. We're up here in the region and they're in Delphi, so we don't cover that AOR. We just went to assist, and Rich Davies is part of the GRIT team, so he was Lafayette, so that was his AOR, area of responsibility.
When you were talking about moving and staging the bodies, did you also look at any autopsy pictures?
I don't believe I saw autopsy pictures. I can't recall.
If I showed them to you, might that help you recall? I don't get to hear anything about that. The BAU is the Behavioral Analysis Unit. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Refer to K, which is that document you have your hand on.
302.
Okay, and you reviewed that this morning, which is?
I reviewed it again this morning, yes.
A memorialization of what you took from Ron Logan's property, is that correct?
It's a report, yes.
Can you tell me when you generated 302?
When I did this particular 302?
Yes.
Or just in general? 3/29 of 2017.
And is that something that you would normally do when you take or identify items at a scene?
It depends.
Can you tell me what it depends on?
The case, whose case it is, because sometimes we're just there to help. Sometimes it's just on state paper or local paper. This is an FBI document.
Does it matter what your role is as to whether you would document what you took?
Oh, you know what I just thought of?
What?
Doug Carter made them give back all their stuff. So that's why she don't have any of the stuff she used.
Doug Carter can't make them give back anything.
Don't you remember that?
Or that he tried to, that he told them to, but they can't. Doug Carter can't make them do anything. They're the FBI.
But it doesn't mean they didn't.
It doesn't mean they didn't.
All right, so am I on one?
Yeah, but I mean, it's still like, you don't think that she would have any idea, like any copy of what they did? They have their own. I mean, she'd have to have her own report stating, I wrote this because of this. You know what I mean? Like just something that cites like her trail of, you know, it has been determined from so and so and so and so that the bodies are moved and staged, and then like this is the document to go back and refer to. Like that would be her report. It would belong to the FBI. It wouldn't belong to them. You know what I mean? It wouldn't. So even if it was said like, give us back our stuff, the FBI, that's her report. Like she doesn't have to give her report to them. You see what I'm saying? Like just something where she says, I gathered this information because, you know, from this document or from these people or from this team or from whatever, that says like, I got my info or I went from here to here because so-and-so said this should be done. Like whatever report she wrote for herself.
I don't know. Because I don't think she brought anything with her.
Well, no, I mean, it would be with the FBI, but I'm just saying, like, it's still an FBI report. It wouldn't belong to Doug Carter. Like, when Doug Carter says,
Well,
like,
but
give
it's,
us, like, that would be
but
like
it's-
any evidence you collected, we want that back because it's part of our investigation.
Right.
But like, FBI documented reports would belong to the FBI. It would not belong to the investigation.
But they still might turn it over though.
Not where they wouldn't have it at all. They might give them a copy of it, but it should all still be in their system.
Well, if the system that they put it into was Orion, like they weren't even typing up their own things. They were providing handwritten things, and then somebody else was typing it up.
Right.
All right. So it matters how it's documented.
Can you explain that to me?
If it's an FBI case, it's typically all FBI paperwork. But if we're assisting the locals, then sometimes there's a mix of federal paper and local reports.
This has got to be what the whole thing is that she's writing her notes on local reports versus on federal paper, but she's talking about that she had an FBI 302 form. So I don't know. But you wouldn't generate a local report. You would only generate an FBI report. Is that right?
Right. So whoever I was with would typically generate. So if I found something, then it would be documented by the local person, the local task force officer, the local police officer would document that and who found it. And it would be S.A. Robertson or Special Agent Robertson found this usually. That's how I see it. Every police department documents things a little different.
But you were there assisting the state police.
You're talking about this crime.
Yes, at Ron Logan's property.
You were asking me generally how things are documented, so I'm telling you.
Sure.
It depends. So in this particular case, there was definitely a mixture of FBI paperwork, state paperwork, and probably county paperwork. I don't know. I have not seen and reviewed every piece of evidence or every item collected in this case, or every report that was generated, or every lead or tip that had came in. So I can only speak to obviously what we typically do.
So do you know what agency you were assisting when you conducted the search of Ron Logan's property?
ISP had the lead on this investigation, Indiana State Police. I know I keep saying ISP. I apologize.
Not according to ISP. You're fine. So you earlier said normally that agency would say, hey, S.A. Robertson found the sweatshirt, the trail cam, whatever. But in this case, you generated that document. So I'm trying to understand why you generated that.
I'm saying every department does it different. So in this particular case, I don't know if these were the only 3 items that we found without a state police person with us. I don't know, because that might have been the case. It may have been how they requested it as well.
Hey, Bob.
What up, Bob?
Is it possible you would have located other... Oh, shit,
something. I don't know.
It's ridiculous. Whether you recorded it, would that have something to do with the capabilities at the location where you were interviewing him? Okay, so now we're going to do an interview. I know that there was a lot going on, right? So I mean, if you were in a place where you had the capability to record the interview, would you have done so?
Typically not at this time. We were not recording interviews, no. In this case, in the Delphi case, just because there were so many people coming in to provide information, I believe the police department had a room with a camera set up. Maybe not a camera, but equipment set up to where we were recording every interview because there was so much information coming in. So they just wanted to make sure, obviously, that nothing was missed and they were documenting or having it documented. Yeah, normal witnesses we don't typically interview. I'm sorry. Record.
All right. Now, you said that in your report that you advised Logan Holder of your identity. Oh, now we're on Logan Holder. Okay. Of your identity and the nature of the interview. What did you tell him specifically? Do you recall?
That it's concerning the murders of the 2 girls.
What was Logan's demeanor during the interview?
I don't remember his demeanor.
Did you talk to Logan at all about whether he had any association with Patrick Westfall?
I believe that there was some sort of, and I obviously read my report, but there was some sort of falling out with the families. Logan is a kid and Westfall is an adult. So his role wasn't, he didn't deal with him.
He didn't deal with him? Who's the he and who's the him?
Logan is the he, didn't deal with Westfall, the adult.
What do you mean he didn't deal with him?
Because that was his father's friend. It wasn't his friend. It was his father's friend.
So when you say he didn't deal with him, you mean he had no interactions with him, or?
He just wasn't there for Patrick. He was with his father.
Do you know if he had any interactions with Patrick?
It seemed to be minimal
Why do you say that?
because he said he didn't even go in the house.
Okay, where does it say he didn't go in the house? Am I missing that?
Yeah, he said like he stayed outside typically.
Can you tell me where that is in your report?
Sure. Holder would hang out with his kids. He said he hadn't been in his home either. He wasn't part of that. Patrick was Brad's friend, Logan's dad's friend, not Logan's friend. Patrick is an adult, Brad is an adult, and Logan is a child. He would hang out with his kids.
So Logan told you he had never went into Patrick's house.
No, I didn't say he never went in. I said he typically, I remember him being kind of separate. Like they were, I mean, he's not there for Patrick. Logan, the child, is not there for Patrick, his dad's friend. That's my best recollection.
Do you know if he ever interacted with Patrick?
I don't recall exactly what it was that he did with him, but he wasn't there often.
Was there a frequency to when Logan went to see Patrick?
Logan was with his father every other weekend, so he only had the opportunity every other weekend. I don't know which days of the weekend that he would have gone, but he was only seen with his dad every other weekend. Then he would sometimes go with his dad.
Was Logan Holder knowledgeable about some belief systems of his father and Patrick Westfall?
I'm sure he was. I know he belonged to a religion. He said he was part of a religion that wasn't Jesus or wasn't Christ.
Did you ask him about that at all?
I don't recall specific questions, no.
Generally speaking, do you recall if you asked him about it?
I mean, what he said was that his dad wanted him to be part of the religion and part of it and didn't pressure him.
Did you ask him about any of the practices of the religion or the belief system?
I don't recall my specific questions. If I would have asked him, which I typically would have, I would have documented it in the report what he would have said, but he didn't seem to know much about it.
Peggy Wright, she remembers Brad Holder's parenting schedule, but can't remember the search.
Yep.
Did he ever observe any of the practices of Patrick and Brad?
What he's saying there was that he remembered that candles were being lit, but outside of that.
Did you ask him about the fight that Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall had, or the falling out?
I'm sure I would have asked him about the fight.
Do you recall what he might have said about that?
Well, I can tell you what my report says he said, just that they got into some sort of fight, but that's it.
Did you ask him any of the specifics about that?
I'm sure I did.
You don't recall his answers?
I would have had it documented if he gave an answer.
So you asked him and he didn't answer?
That's going to be what I would assume. But do I remember that? No. If he would have known a reason, I would have put it in the report.
Did you ask him when he stopped going to Patrick Westfall's?
I think he said something about not going there.
Oh, God. Seriously. Do you recall who that was?
I think it was Delphi, the police department. I don't remember. I'm drawing a blank on the chief's name.
Okay, so we're switching. We switched from Ron to Logan Holder. And are we still on Holder? That's the question. So they would have the recording.
Yeah, they had. Everything was managed and maintained by Delphi. I don't think it was the county. It could be the county, but I'm not positive.
Now, you said that Holder communicates on Facebook through text, Snapchat, and Instagram. Did you review any of those?
No.
How did you know that he communicates on those platforms?
He told me.
Did he tell you who he communicated with?
No, I don't recall particular people.
I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else, Andy? Andy says, I do, within the mandates, I believe. So now Andy's asking questions. Andy Baldwin, was it odd that the Indiana State Police took the lead of the search of the home of Ron Logan's home?
No.
That's not an odd thing?
No, I mean, they're the lead investigators on the whole case.
Well, I've heard that. I'm going to see if you remember this. I've heard that there was like some weird saying or something that was on Ron Logan's, one of his walls, like some type of, like it was written in words of some type, like painted on the wall. Do you remember anything like that?
No.
Books. You said you looked through some books.
I'm nodding my head.
What was the purpose of looking at books?
For anything that could be rune related or Nordic.
Why that?
Just because of the potential of those sticks meaning something.
Did you find anything?
No.
I've also heard word that, and I stopped going down these rabbit holes a while ago, but I remember back in the day, I heard some story about they found a bunch of cleaning supplies, as if he had cleaned stuff. The theory being he, Ron Logan, had cleaned blood and perhaps other DNA and whatever off of his property. Do you remember that as being part of the search, finding a bunch of cleaning supplies?
Vaguely remember, but I don't remember being crazy abnormal.
Also a fire pit.
Yeah.
Tell me what you remember about the fire pit.
There was a fire pit.
Good job. Did you guys go through it and see what might have been in there?
Yes.
Was there anything of note?
I did not. I wasn't the one that went through the fire pit, but I do remember seeing it. And obviously, we looked at it.
Okay. Normally, when you would go in on a search, if it was your guys' search, the FBI search, the FBI would have a photographer there to memorialize things. Do you know if there was an FBI photographer there that day?
I don't think it was our people because we usually have ERT, evidence response team. I don't think they were there. I think it was ISP's people, and then they would do it the way they do it.
Do you remember anybody from ISP taking photographs?
I'm sure there was, but no, I don't remember who it was.
It's been a while since I've read the Ron Logan. I mean, I found it online. Do you remember when that was leaked online?
I don't.
Was there something in there about his alibi? Do you remember that? Do you remember, was that part of the, I'm sorry, I just didn't read it.
No, there is.
Give me the whole alibi thing that you know about involving Ron Logan.
He had his cousin lie for him.
Was it determined ultimately why he lied for his uncle or his cousin?
Cousin. Ron wasn't able.
Well, Hannah, can I object? Mr. Irvin says, are you talking about general or are you talking leading up to the, Baldwin says, leading up to? Mohana says, I just want to be clear. Are you talking about the statements that are in the probable cause? Baldwin says, right. Mohana says, and what the basis is for that? Mr. Baldwin says, leading up to it, did you guys, I'm not trying to ignore your question. If I rephrase it, maybe I think you'll understand. Mohana says, just to clarify my objection, I think you're asking ultimately, was there any determination made regarding the alibi that's listed in the probable cause affidavit? Baldwin says, I think I was. Baldwin's like, I don't even know what the fuck I was asking anymore. You totally thrown me off. Moynihan says, I'd say that goes beyond the basis, what the basis was for the statement in the probable cause affidavit. Baldwin says, I'd agree with you, then I'll ask it this way. I hate when Baldwin agrees with idiots. Leading up to the probable cause affidavit that you prepared, had you at that time talked to the cousin about the alibi?
Yes.
And what did he say? Did he get square with you at that point in time and say, yeah, he told me to lie? Or did you find that out later?
No, I found it out before.
Friday.
Sorry, I should have read because it's probably in there. Before you prepared the probable cause affidavit, did you guys approach Ron Logan and say, why did you lie about your alibi? Or why did you tell your cousin to lie about an alibi?
I don't recall at what point, Ron Logan. I do know that was discussed, but I don't recall at what point it was.
Oh, that's how you.
Were you ever involved in that conversation with Ron if it was before the probable cause affidavit?
I don't think I directly talked to Ron. I think it was through everybody else I had seen. I had seen him interviewed. I knew he had come in. I knew he had done some other things.
All right, I'm going to pause real quick because I also have a tiny human, so give me 1 second.
Is that how you move a mouse?
Yeah, you guys don't use mouses in school.
Yeah, I don't know how to use a mouse.
You don't know how to...
Well.
You just use the square thing on the computer?
Yeah, because it's way easier. They don't even make mouses at school.
I don't think it's easier.
People aren't at school. Only when you're in 5th grade they allow mouses, because then you'll know how to use a mouse.
Oh, you
And
just
when-
wake
when-
up in 5th grade and know how to use one?
Yeah.
Oh.
In 5th grade, you're gonna already know how to use a mouse, so then they'll give you a mouse.
Mm-hmm. I bet you don't know my pen.
Because you spent for 4 grades, you've been using this.
Right.
But now you get to use this.
Mm-hmm.
What does this thing you do?
That scrolls the pages up and down when you're looking at something that has pages.
Does this have pages?
Was that your belly I just heard rumbling?
No, that's yours.
It wasn't mine. I'm not hungry at all.
Well, I'm hungry because I just ate like 20 Starbursts. Like 4. I don't really know.
Where are they?
They're sitting right there.
You didn't bring any upstairs, did you?
I don't know.
He's sick
Mine was-
too. We're really we're on the struggle bus.
Mine was leaving for football.
Wait, what
so
did you do?
He had to tell me that he didn't want to lose to the Cheeseheads.
I forgot my.
Why would you click I forgot my pen? Oh, you're lucky because you were about to get a whooping. As sick as I feel. If you locked me out of this computer.
That'd be fun. Okay, I don't even know where we are now. Hold on.
Lock
Oh, here, just number 2.
What did you just
Yes.
do to it? What did you just do to him?
I put it to sleep. Like I'm
No.
about to put you to sleep. Go upstairs. I'm following you. Go.
Well, even not.
Shabugs, mine will be 9 in December. When's the birthday? My kid's is December 16th. He'll be 9.
That's gross. Mine's already going to be 8 in February.
I hate it. Joanna, we are on Nikkole Robertson's deposition. December 16th. December 11th.
You know my birthday's in December.
You're a December baby too.
Mm-hmm. So is Bob.
Says Bob. Nothing beats a Virgo. Sorry.
Bro, my mom buys the all pink Starbursts. Like, oh my god, that's my favorite.
Pink and red together.
Yeah, it's like pink and red, and then like an off pink and a darker red.
DB, why are you gonna come in and be such a Debbie Downer?
Let me throw him in the bed.
Okay, go ahead. Are we wait a minute then? Or are we just tossing him in and walking away? Yeah, why do you know Susan's birthday, DB? That's a great question. Do you wish her a happy birthday? What's Coffin Daffers? I know you know hers. DB knows everything. Susan wrote the world's most boring book on Delphi. It is really bad, and I fucking own it, which is sad. Hey, Christine. No, feds aren't that smart. Feds aren't as smart as DB. DB is so dumb. Bob is not a boomer. Yeah. DB just works at Chipotle. Yeah, DB is too smart to be a Fed. Exactly. All I can tell you is I'm like so sick of reading these depositions and they're just being bullshit. These people don't want to answer questions. If they do answer questions, they don't want to tell the damn truth.
Same. And I heard from a very credible source that DB is AI. Very advanced AI.
And I'm tired of the redacted pages and like there not being any fucking reason that they're redacted. It's absolutely irritating.
Yeah, they need to give an explanation for that. I did send All Eyes a message, but I think she said she's been behind on messages.
Yeah, she hasn't answered my message from like 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
he answers you first. So I'm gonna have to have some words.
All right, let's go.
Okay. When you say you never talked to him, were you talking specifically about the alibi or just generally you don't think you ever had talked to him?
I know I talked to him. Like, I remember him coming in and I remember speaking to him, like, friendly, but I don't want to say, I can't say either.
I'm still talking about before.
Yeah, I don't think I can.
I'll move on. Mr. Mohanahan says, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where we are right now.
Us too.
Baldwin says, I'll tell you where I'm at. I'm just trying to figure out before the PCA was filed, did she talk to Ron Logan about the alibi?
No, I did not directly, no.
Thank you. That makes it easier. Were you aware of like a photograph before the probable cause affidavit was filed where it was taken in late January that was on Facebook where Patrick Westfall and Brad Holder were happy and, you know, arms around each other? Does that ring a bell at all to you in late January?
I wouldn't know the date of their pictures. I had seen so many social media posts and pictures.
I'm just trying to narrow down like when the falling out happened.
Oh, yeah.
As you sit here, how sure are you that the falling out that Logan Holder talked to you about was before the girls were murdered?
I mean, according to Logan, it was before they were murdered.
Was there any investigation that you know of that you or anyone else did to figure out whether what Logan Holder said was true?
Several people were interviewed and talked to, yes.
And the interview, again, I'm sorry, I don't have this in front of me. You said it took place in Delphi. Is that because what you're looking at, the Logan Holder documents, said that?
Yes.
And can you tell me from looking at that if it was in fact videotaped?
I believe all of the interviews, and I don't know because obviously I didn't go back and check their records after the fact, but I do know that we went into a room specifically because it was recorded. So we would interview in a certain room because it had a recording. So my assumption was all of the interviews that were done at Delphi were recorded, but not maintained by us.
So recently there was, this is related, but if you don't agree, then I guess you'll tell me. Brad Holder, we found out that there's a claim that it was recorded over or something like that. And then we got something very recently that said there was like a paper file where a disc had been for Brad Holder's interview and the disc wasn't in there. Part one of what I'm saying, part two would be, that tells me that the FBI might have also stored some of that stuff. And now I'm getting back to Logan. Is it possible that Logan's interview would still be with the FBI somewhere?
Those interviews weren't recorded by us. If we did interview off-site and it was like for us, sometimes we'll interview or record potential subject interviews. And we have our own recording device that we have and we maintain and we put in evidence. But in this case, I can't tell you what anybody else did or not did or how they recorded it. But I know I did not bring my own recording device or for any of my interviews. So I would have relied on whatever was made available to me.
It would not be protocol to say, hey, the interviews that I did, I'd like to get a copy so that I can maintain those with the FBI. And then Irvin says, just object to the extent for this interview of Logan Holder. Mr. Baldwin says, yes. Irvin says, do you have a recollection of receiving any kind of digital? Were you involved in the recovery, the storage, anything of a digital copy of a recording if one existed?
No, I do know that we did review some of the recordings at the time with Delphi. So I do know that recordings existed, but I don't know whose. I heard there was an issue, but I didn't check it.
I think I might be done. I just want to make sure. When you talked earlier about looking for books that might have runes or Nordic kind of, I don't remember how you said it. How do you remember saying it? You said books with runes or something Nordic.
Yeah, Nordic.
Was that something that you on your own thought to do, or had you talked to somebody that had said to you, look, there might be these sticks on these girls and other things at the scene might be Nordic related or rune related. So go look for books or anything that might have that type of topic as part of the book. Was that something that you did on your own, or you think somebody told you to do that?
There was always a discussion of it that it could potentially mean something.
Okay, and apparently somebody thought when you said it might mean something that the something is potentially Nordic or runic in nature. That's what was left behind at the scene. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you. And then Ajay says, I have one quick follow-up. Did you search Ron Logan's house and property because he was a suspect?
Yeah.
Do you know if he was ever cleared as a suspect? And Mohanahan pops in and says, I would object to the scope.
And that's it.
And that's the end of it. Again, a very weird ending to this conversation. Like they just don't, they don't, that's just it. Like I would object to the scope and everybody's just like, okay, no other questions.
All of these suck so bad.
Right. And then there's
Oh my God, same, Bob. They were so yummy. They were.
And then Latrell asks 0 questions.
Well, what did he really need to ask?
I guess nothing. Somebody asked what Mohanahan's first name is. It's Brian. Brian P. Mohanahan. So
both Brians.
Both Brian P. Monahan, and Brian Urban. So and he's from the FBI and was representing the U.S. Department of Justice, and then Urban is from the U.S. Attorney's Office representing the U.S. Attorney's Office. I don't know. I did not feel that this was very conducive to getting any answers of anything. She doesn't know why she did anything she did. Just that there had to be a reason. She just doesn't know what it was. She doesn't know why she wrote anything she did. Just that other people agreed and probably some didn't, but she doesn't know the thoughts of everybody around her. Just that that's what she wrote because that's what she wrote.
Also, that is literally my name, and I've never seen Nikkole spelled that way, ever.
Me either, yeah. Well, can you tell them about the name that we were talking about yesterday with Carrie that you sent me the message about?
Oh, dude. So Johnny Messer, in his deposition, he spells Carrie, his wife, the one that showed up with the ex Taylor for her deposition. He spells her name Kerri. But yet, in Taylor's deposition, when her friend who was there for support, who's Johnny's current wife, she spelled her name Kari. So if you were sus that Carrie, however you spell it, was just there to be like an eavesdropper and figure out what's being said so that she could, it's Kari. So Johnny doesn't know how to spell his wife's name.
Yeah, Johnny doesn't know how to spell his wife's name.
Cute.
That doesn't surprise me.
Oh, God.
Nikkole has an Odin tat for sure. That's outside the scope. We can't be asking that kind of question. It's outside the scope. Those are not allowed in this 2 parenthesis E request.
That was a waste of time.
I feel like most of these are.
Like but all the work that goes into like a 2E request, like nothing came of that.
Right. And they were allowed to ask her about 4 interviews. So they asked her about Logan Holder, Ron Logan, and
we don't know what else.
Jamie.
Oh yeah, Jamie. What
we don't. Let me go back.
Werner.
I think it's Werner, not Wiener. Not to be confused with
Jamie
Wiener.
Werner.
Yeah, not sure why that person's important. So that's an interesting name. And then, so what's the 4th one?
I don't know. I might have a way to figure that out, but it won't be swiftly. I can't do it while we're waiting, but I might be able to narrow it down.
On who the 4 were?
Uh-huh.
Never known a wiener, never seen a wiener, don't know what a wiener is.
Don't even know what a wiener looks like. Don't have a wiener.
Definitely don't have a wiener. Diener has a D, though. All right. Well, yeah.
What are we doing? Are we doing
We're doing Trooper Ryan Winters.
Okay, I was waiting for you to say Eric.
Yeah, I know. You just watched. I'm like, you just wanted me to say it wrong. Okay. Hold on. Let me see the date on this. This is done on August 20. Oh, this one's old. This one's done on August 23 of 2023. So this is back when they were writing
out the depots of everyone.
Yeah, right when they were writing out the Franks memo.
In fact, I started doing this today. So 8-8 was Liggett, 8-9 was Lesenby, 8-10 was Holman and Kevin Murphy, 8-21 was Roland Purdy, 8-23 was Ryan Winters, and this undercover trooper, whoever that is, the one that's undercover, like in prison or whatever.
Yeah,
with like white supremacists or whatever.
Why don't we have the rest of the depots from August then? I thought we just got the ones from 2024, and that was why we didn't have the other ISP ones and stuff.
No, because we only got the ones that they submitted as exhibits. So if they never submitted like Jerry Holman's as an exhibit, then we don't. That's not going to be in here.
Oh, fucking Holcomb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Trooper X. The undercover trooper.
Trooper X. Okay, so August 23rd. It looks like we get.
This dude looks intense. Look at this dude.
Yeah, dude, he does look intense.
I don't have it in me right now because I'm sick, but he looks like those guys in like Scared Straight that would like yell at the kids.
Oh yeah.
Like all in their face and shit. On like Mari or whoever it was, where they'd come and there'd be like all these badass kids on the stage and they'd come up and just start yelling at them. He looks like one of those.
I agree with you. Nikkole says, wait, is that why this is all super secret? There's an undercover involved in all this somehow. Well, I still think that, in my opinion, which I have no proof of, that some of the redactions and some of the other stuff has to do with the Vinlanders and the American Guard. Just due to the timing of when that stuff was redacted and what the questions were before we went into it. But I still find it very strange that they just redact an entire page out versus redacting out. I mean, you could redact out the lines instead of the entire page.
That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to be redacting entire pages. If you notice, not a single page has like one thing redacted, like, I don't know, a phone number.
Right.
It's only if there's a redaction, it could be one word that they're wanting to redact on that page. And instead of redacting that one word, they're redacting entire pages.
But I mean, even if so let's say it has to do with like the American Guard and they don't want to ask questions, or they don't want like Brian James like to have any info about what's being asked. Like, it could easily be like to mark out that entire section that has to do with like that, that situation, to not give any inclination of what's being asked. But that's obviously not the case when it comes to all the other depots and all the other redactions. Like Nikkole Robertson's, like sometimes they'll redact out like FBI protocols because they don't want the public to know what the FBI can and can't do, right? Like they don't want to put that out there. Huh?
But they didn't do that. It was like
no, they just took out pages of random stuff about Logan Holder and Ron Logan. Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like some of it just doesn't make sense, and then we don't get any reason behind why, like any legal reason behind why that specific info or that page or whatever is being removed.
What time do we have to be done?
6:45. Will we be able to finish him?
9:45.
9:45 for you. So 45 minutes.
I don't know. I guess it's 60 pages. I don't know how much of that's redacted though. I haven't read this one.
Okay. All right. Well, let's hit it then. Yeah, I have to pick up a kid. Maxwell was also a Logan Maxwell. Yes, that was his parents' house was the first search warrant Well, the first public search warrant. Other people say there was one done before that somewhere else, but what the public knew of was Logan Maxwell's parents' house. All right, state your name and spell it for the record, please.
Ryan Winters, Winters.
Is your middle name Joseph?
First name is Joseph. I go by Ryan Winters. All my legal documents are Ryan.
I'm Andy Baldwin. It's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Name sounds familiar. Have we?
We may have run into each other at some point in time. I've been doing this a long time. How long have you been doing this?
Year 21.
Where are you from?
Originally, or do you mean work related?
Like high school?
Sullivan High School.
Oh, okay.
You know Sullivan?
Yeah, it's that in Vigo, Sullivan County.
Yeah, south of Vigo. Yeah, it's about 20 minutes south of Terre Haute.
I had a weirdo case out there in Sullivan. That's the county seat is. What's the county seat of Sullivan?
Sullivan.
It is Sullivan? I had a weirdo child molest case there many years ago. Is that where you were out of?
I'm in Putnamville, so Sullivan County is in the Putnamville district.
Just give me a little bit of your background. You're in year 21. Where did you go to college, if you went to college, and all that good stuff?
I went to Sullivan High School and I graduated in 97. Went to ISU that same time frame. 4 years at ISU. Worked at Jubal School for Boys. Went to the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy in October of 2002. Was appointed as an Indiana State Police probationary trooper in April of 2003. Was assigned to the Lafayette District in 2003. And I worked interdiction in Lafayette until, I would say, during the time of this case, 2017. And transferred down to Putnamville District to work interdiction on 70. I went down there August of 2017, I believe, maybe. And I went to Investigations in the fall of 2018 as a temporary duty assignment.
I think I read when I was doing background on you, you've gotten some awards. Did you get an award?
Yeah.
What was that?
I've gotten a couple of awards for Trooper of the District. I've gotten an award for the Regional Trooper of the United States. And then Glock gave me an award. I got the Gold Star Award from the State Police. There's a handful of awards through there.
You're very humble about that. And what is it this you're doing now exactly?
Area 5 field investigations, which is essentially detective. I'm assigned to the Putnamville District. I take cases all over.
What kind of cases are you working now?
Everything.
Murder?
Yeah, some murder cases, officer-involved shooting cases, a lot of child molestation cases, a lot of fraud cases, theft cases, deception cases.
Any sex offense cases?
A lot of them.
By chance, are you working on the Greg Ferenczi case?
No, not in Putnamville.
That was out in Terre Haute, wasn't it?
That's in Terre Haute. What was that, last year, the year before? I don't know what agency worked that. I wasn't a part of it, though.
How, if at all, did you get involved in the Delphi murder case?
I was on light duty in preparation for going on medical leave, and I was assigned to what we called day shift post command. And so I fielded a lot of incoming calls. Incoming persons walk into the post in terms of the Delphi case.
I always forget to ask this question. What, if anything, did you do today to prepare?
I reviewed the supplements and I tried to review the attachments, and some of them wouldn't open up. I don't know if it's because of the internet is very slow. My air card at my residence is slow. The internet here is slow. So I reviewed the 11 or 12 supplements.
When did you do that, those reviews?
I did that yesterday. And I also did this morning.
Have you talked to anybody other than the prosecutor about the deposition?
I let my investigative squad sergeant know that I had testimony outside of district. I contacted First Sergeant Jerry Holman, who's the DIC agent in District 14 in Lafayette last night, to say, hey, I'm having some problems with access being denied to certain supplements. And he reached out to ISL, investigative squad leader, Stephen Buckley. Buckley sent me a text saying my access has been granted, allowed me to access some of the stuff on the case. So that would be the extent of what I did and who I spoke to.
Are you aware of any types of questions we might be asking you based upon any of these conversations?
No, I didn't talk to anybody that's been deposed or know anybody.
Did you do anything beyond what you described earlier, like taking walk-ins into Delphi and kind of working the tip line?
Yeah, I did. I went with another trooper, actually Troy Fisher. He's a detective. He interviewed a handful of people that I can't remember why we interviewed those people. It may have been a list somewhere that we went out with a list and interviewed some people at their doors. And since then, since this time frame, I've also taken some reports of calls coming in that there's a person that looked like the subject on, I-70 or I-65 that I would go out and speak with. And also the Putnamville district, well, all the districts in the state, but Putnamville would receive a follow-up with the person in that area. One of the detectives or myself would get one, and I had maybe 2 follow-ups in, I guess, maybe 2018.
Thank you for saying that, because I was going to ask when. So when approximately did you arrive on the scene to kind of help out in the Delphi murder investigation? Approximately, would you think, if the girls died on the 13th or the 14th?
I never went to the scene.
Oh, okay. Mr. Rosie pipes in and says, what did you say? I'm sorry?
I never went to the scene.
Baldwin says, but when did you arrive? It sounds like you arrived in Delphi to those little groups, the little places where people were coming in if they had tips.
Most of mine was from the post. Most of the people were coming to the post or calling the post, and I was answering the phone at the Indiana State Police post.
So when you said you never came to the scene, did you ever even come to Delphi?
I did. I mean, there's people we interviewed in Delphi, I believe, and I think I came in once. I can't remember where it's at. It was like a makeshift headquarters or a makeshift post or like a meeting area I came to once.
So you think maybe you just came to Delphi the one time, or was it multiple times?
I can't recall. I know for a fact I came once. That's when I met classmate Detective Troy Fisher. We met in Delphi. We had lunch, and that's when we dispersed to go interview local folks.
What were those interviews related to on that occasion?
I don't know. I think there was a list of people, maybe, or a list of maybe follow-ups that had come in. I don't really recall where those came from or who even had the list.
Now, I think the light bulb just went off. So when you're talking about walk-ins, that wouldn't be like walk into the post.
The Indiana State Police Post Battleground, Tippecanoe County. I was the post commander there.
Where was that again?
It's in Tippecanoe County.
Is it in Lafayette?
It's essentially Battleground.
Battleground. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't understand.
It's the 170-mile marker on 65 at 43 and 65. The Indiana State Police Post Lafayette. It's by Battleground.
Were you getting more in-person tips of people walking in, or more phone tips, or more email tips? How would you classify all of that?
I didn't get any email tips that I recall. Most of them were people calling in.
I'm curious as to how would a call about Delphi be routed to you? Was there a system in place?
Delphi is in the Lafayette district.
Maybe I'm wrong here, but I was envisioning maybe there was like a 1-800 number and then it would just go to different people or something like that. That's not the way it was.
I believe there's a hotline set up by the FBI, but we received calls.
So do you think those calls were coming in on your direct line?
Yes.
Okay. And how, if at all, were you trained to kind of decide which of the leads were of value and which were not of value?
I documented everything.
And having been on this case now for whatever, 9 months or whatever it's been, I can tell you even this morning I got tips from people that are completely crazy and things like that. I kind of just disregard that. And I'm wondering, did you get those tips of leads that you knew immediately this is of no value? They're talking about aliens and things like that. Or
I got those calls and I documented every one that came in.
okay, what would you do if you received a lead that you thought, okay, this might be something? I know you document everything, but this one I need perhaps to go up the chain to see if this is worth pursuing immediately or more quickly. What would you do then?
I'd reach out to Steve Buckley, the ISL, Jerry Holman, and if they were at the post, I'd talk directly.
I may have heard Steve Buckley's name before, but who is he?
He's the investigative squad leader. He's a sergeant. He'd be the second over Area 1 investigations for Lafayette District. He would be right below DIC, District Investigative Commander, First Sergeant Jerry Holman.
So Buckley is under Holman.
Yes. But he would be over the detectives at the Lafayette District Investigators.
That's the way it was back in 2017?
Yes.
Is that the way it still is?
I believe so, yeah.
All right. Were there any, as you sit there right now, are there any leads that you remember thinking, this one's a good lead, I need to do something about this? Is there any lead that stood out to you?
There's several leads that stand out.
Can you tell me about some of those?
One call, a gentleman called from Arizona and said he said that Arizona was having problems with abductions by illegal aliens, which is kind of a known fact or known at that time that Phoenix, Arizona had a lot of people that were abducted into Mexico for trafficking and cartels and things of that nature. I listened to him talk. He became a little paranoid, and he wasn't talking about illegal aliens. He was talking about UFOs, and that he had actually seen people abducted by UFOs. So we were talking about completely different illegal aliens, and I documented that and forwarded it on. I think that if I remember correctly, I think he hung up when I went to ask him for his name, because he had made reference to the federal government can't be trusted, and like, I'm an extension of the government, so he hung up. Another one was a female. I can't remember. It was either like Louisiana or somewhere near the Gulf Coast. And she said that she's a psychic, is what she said, that she had maybe a dream or premonition or a vision that the girls were killed by a creek, a pond, woods, a cornfield, or an open pasture. And in my mind, I'm thinking the only thing she hasn't mentioned is a golf course, because that's really the terrain for Indiana. So her information was collected and documented. I had another call in of I can't remember his name, but he said that the night of, he had a dream that the girls were killed using a knife in a wooded area. A premonition, which, is it someone, I don't know. So I took his information. I can't remember if I forwarded it on and how that worked, but it was documented. There's a supplement in there. There's a couple more. I'm drawing a blank.
That's all right. What about the ones that were actually like you felt were good leads that might be fruitful? Is there anything that stands out in that realm?
In my mind, any lead that is a person that lives in this area would be a possible lead. I grant you the illegal alien, the UFOs, is not a lead that you can or anybody is going to follow up on. And the psychic, there's really nothing to follow up on there. That's kind of a person wanting to be part of the investigation, get their foot in the door. So anything that would relate to the area would be, in my mind, anything outside of the psychic and the UFOs, I think, would be a viable lead.
Do you remember any leads concerning a suspect named Patrick Westfall?
No.
Do you remember any leads concerning a guy named Elvis Fields?
No.
Do you remember any leads concerning a guy named Johnny Messer?
No.
Do you remember any leads concerning a guy named Brad Holder?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that.
I only remember his name because I saw it in a supplement.
Was it one lead or more than one lead on Brad Holder, if you remember?
I only had information about Brad Holder from a caller.
Do you remember the caller's name?
It's in the reports.
I think I might have it here.
Yeah, Ryan. How did we say his name? Boucher.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked as AA and see if that's the report that you're referring to.
Also, not for nothing, but Ryan Boucher is not the only person that tipped him in. But anyway.
Right, but it might be the only one that about with Ryan Winters.
True. Yes, I recognize this. Do you need this?
I'm going to ask some questions about it so I can kind of understand the verbiage and some stuff. At the very top, it says blah, blah, blah. What is that? If you know, I mean, you may not even know.
Yeah, that's our ORI. That's the assigned number for every law enforcement agency has.
Is that related to your post?
INISP 1400 is specifically assigned to the Indianapolis State Police Lafayette District. The I is Indiana. ISP is the Indiana State Police. And 14 is the designation for the Lafayette State Police Post.
And then when it says Carroll County and venue is Delphi, I guess you cover a lot of ground there, I'm guessing. So that could be a different county. It could be Tippecanoe County, for example. Is that right?
Carroll County would be the location of report number 17 ISPC Charles 0017481.
Okay, I guess I shouldn't just presume things. Is the county and the venue, is that where the crime occurred, or is that where the report is going to be sent?
That's where the investigation was initiated.
Okay, and then when it says report date and time, what does that mean?
Report date and time would be the time that my report was generated. So I generated this narrative on March 28th, 2017 at 12:13 hours.
What about the February 14th? What does that mean?
February 14th, 2017, 1300 hours would be the time that the incident report number 17 ISPC Charles 0017481 was pulled.
Is that this report that I gave you as AA?
Exhibit A. Yes, sir.
This report number is 17SPC 0017481-1. Is that right?
Yes.
I know these sound like dumb questions, but I don't understand the verbiage, so I wanted to make sure. So if I were to ask to pull up 17 SPC 001748-1, this would be what I would get. Is that right?
No.
Glad I asked that. What would I get?
You would get, if you plugged that report number into the RMS system, you would get, gosh, I can't remember, probably 3 or 4 or 5, I guess, extended reports for that number. And then each extended report would have, you know, several hundred, if not more, supplements in each report number.
But would all of those supplemental reports have something to do with this case, or would it be?
It would be linked to the 17 ISPC Charles 01748. All the case would be affiliated with that.
Okay.
But each supplement may be under a different extension of that case because the magnitude of it, because of the size of it. So I think that there's also 17 ISPC Charles 001748-2, which tells you that there's an extension on the case because of the data.
This is dumb. I wish I was smarter, because I'm sorry I have to ask this. So would all of those other documents that you said, if I plugged that in, would they be related to the Ryan Boucher call or to the Delphi murder case?
The Delphi murder case.
Okay, now I understand. How would you find this particular report? Does it have an assigned number to it?
Yes.
What is it?
Supplemental report 169.
Where's that located?
Bottom right.
Okay, thank you. That'll help. Can you tell me from this report when you were in communication with Ryan Boucher?
Yes.
Where is that and when was that?
April 12th, 2017 at approximately 12:30 hours.
From the narrative?
That's the opening line of the narrative.
Okay, so there's not another place something doesn't just automatically populate on the computer when you type it in. It's from the narrative. Is that right?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
That's a bad question. I thought maybe there would be something in the body that would show when he called or something, but it's just from the narrative.
Yes, the narrative.
Like the date that the report is actually generated.
No, like they're the ones putting in the date is what he's saying. The narrative,
right.
like
be any fucking date they want it to say.
Yeah, it doesn't auto-populate, which would obviously be more accurate.
Right. Let me go back to the top here. So when you say address 5858 West County Road 300 North, is that the crime scene address?
I don't know for sure. I would have to say yes, but I don't know for sure because it says incident location.
I know these are dumb questions, but I just want to make sure that I'm not going down the wrong rabbit hole, which often happens. So basically, do you fill out the top part of that? What do you fill out? That's another way to ask it.
Whenever I generate a supplement, the computer generates a time, a date, and a time.
That's what
the information that you see below, not for public release, is not generated by me.
Okay, we just literally asked that. Okay, down through at least the narrative.
A lot of this stuff is auto-populated. You asked me specifically what things I populated.
Like Bradley Holder. How would Bradley Holder's name there under other contact person or incident people, how would his name have appeared in this document?
There's one of two ways. I don't remember specifically which way it was added, but it would have been added by me.
Okay, and how would you have gotten the information concerning like his date of birth and all of that?
I don't recall specifically.
What would be a common way to do that? B&B, something like that.
Yeah, B&B.
When it says under not for public release, it says supplements approved report. Do you know what that means?
I don't know. I know that when I generate a supplement, I get a confirmation that the report's been approved. I've actually never looked at this portion of the lead sheet. I would say that means that my report has been approved.
So looking at this document and reading it, I'm going to go on the second page. I'll read the paragraph. Then I'm going to ask you about it. So, quote, Boucher verbally identified himself by telephone and upon request scanned and forwarded me a copy of his Georgia's driver's license. Holder provided pictures of Holder's, okay, that's obviously Boucher provided pictures. Holder provided pictures of Holder's media accounts depicting tree limbs on the ground displaying runes consistent with the Odin belief system, end quote. I want to talk about that paragraph. What prompted you to seek his driver's license?
Because he was identifying himself by phone.
Did you do that with all of the out-of-state folks?
I don't know about out of state. Yeah, I would request some form of identification to identify who they were. The lady who said she was a psychic, her information was documented. The person who hung up in terms of the UFOs, there was nothing on him, but I always try to obtain some type of ID.
What's the reason behind that?
Because every call-in has a potential application to the case or follow-up to the case. And if this case is going to be investigated, we need to make sure we have information on that person that gave the tip.
Continuing on with that paragraph I just read, quote, Holder provided pictures from Holder's media accounts depicting tree limbs on the ground displaying runes consistent with the Odin belief system, end quote. How did he provide those photos, pictures? I know he didn't hand them to you.
I can't remember if he emailed them to me or if he emailed them to Pam Guy. I can't remember how they came in.
To who?
Pam Guy was our Area 1 secretary, investigation secretary, and I don't remember which way, if he emailed me or emailed her.
Is that Gauhgh?
Guy, Pam Guy.
Oh, Guy. Okay, I'm sorry, Guy. Pam Guy. If Pam Guy would have received those, would she have forwarded those to you or printed them off and handed them to you?
She would have made a copy for me or showed me or gave me whatever she printed out, and then she would attach them as an attachment into RMS.
So one of those two ways, it was either emailed directly to you. Would you have given Boucher your email address?
Yes, or hers, whichever it was.
Like, do you really actually receiving, like, do you remember actually receiving this phone call as you sit there?
As I read the narrative last night, yes.
Looks like it was in the afternoon. Do you know where, like, you were in your office, or were you?
I had been in the radio room at the Lafayette State Police Post. That's where kind of my general area of assignment while I was on temporary duty status going into medical leave.
What did you know about the crime scene before you started taking tip leads?
I don't recall specifically. I was briefed by, I believe, Lieutenant McKee. I don't know if I can't remember if I worked that day or that next day. I don't remember. I was on and off a lot during this time frame, but I remember being briefed by someone. I don't know if it was Lieutenant Tom McKee or a detective. I don't remember specifically, but I was briefed by somebody.
And the reason I'm asking that, because we'll be talking about the next paragraph where you say these are consistent with, quote, this rune symbol on the hand matched the sticks placed on the victim in the Delphi investigation, end quote. Those were your words in the next paragraph, the very last sentence.
I'm not following you. Which line are you on?
I'm sorry, the paragraph that starts with, quote, the provided media pictures, end quote. The very last sentence it says is, quote, this rune symbol on the hand, end quote, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, quote, match the sticks placed on the victims in the Delphi investigation, end quote. Would those be your words?
Yes.
And the reason I'm asking this is it tells me that, or informs me, that sentence does, that last sentence, that you must have known something about the crime scene. And that's what I'm trying to figure out is, how did you know the crime scene?
I had seen pictures of the crime scene at some point.
And was that everybody that was taking tips, was that something that they would have given a primer on the crime scene, if you know?
I don't know.
And you don't know who gave you the crime scene photos to look at?
Yeah, I don't recall specifically, but I remember seeing a handful of pictures.
Now, would you have had those photos of the crime scene with you, or at least access to them, as you were taking these tips in?
I don't recall if I did or not.
Well, let's talk about that next paragraph. Well, actually, I want to go back to before I put a button on this other one. It says, quote, Holder provided pictures from Holder's media accounts depicting tree limbs on the ground displaying runes consistent with the Odin belief system, end quote. When you wrote that into your report, did you know at that point in time what runes were or what Odin was?
I'd never heard of it.
So that was the first time you had heard of Odin.
Yes.
And so those words presumably came from Ryan Boucher then.
Yeah, the information I'm putting in this report is from him. These are the things that he is saying and the things that he is reporting that he has seen.
So then I'll go to the next paragraph. Quote, the provided media pictures show unknown young girls believed to be deceased with sticks placed over their bodies, end quote. I'm going to hand you, do you remember as you sit there what that looks like? What that image looked like?
No, I don't.
I'm going to see if this is what's marked as F previously. No hard sticker on that. Just look at that for a second, and then I'll ask you, is that the image that Ryan Boucher sent you?
No, I don't believe so. I don't know. I don't recognize this. I do remember that there was a picture involving two girls with limbs and sticks over them. I don't remember. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is.
Thank you. So what I just showed you, which is Exhibit F from a previous deposition, you've not seen that before.
I don't know if I have or not. I don't know if I have or not.
I'm going to read this again and then ask you a question. This is off the 4th paragraph on the 2nd page. Quote, the provided media pictures show unknown young girls believed to be deceased with sticks placed over their bodies. End quote. I just read that. I take from that you actually saw these pictures of unknown young girls believed to be deceased with sticks placed over their bodies. Would you have seen the picture since you described it there? That's not a very good question. Let me see if I can say this better. You write in your report, quote, the provided media pictures show unknown girls believed to be deceased with sticks placed over their bodies, end quote. That's your words, correct?
Yes.
And what I take from that is that you actually looked at these pictures that show unknown young girls believed to be deceased with sticks placed over their bodies. Is that a fair thing for me to think?
Say that one more time.
That you actually saw this picture and then you wrote what you saw in the picture in the sentence.
Yes, I saw a picture.
You don't believe it was that photo?
I don't know. It's been so long. I don't remember if that's the picture or not.
I know you brought your computer here. Would you be able to pull up the picture?
I tried. I was not able to access those attachments. Those attachments would be under Pam Guy.
And we're going to get to that. I'll get to that in a second. So you do believe that you did see pictures that you described as unknown young girls believed to be deceased with sticks placed over their bodies?
Yes.
And then you wrote, quote, the sticks across the female on Holder's media were believed to be symbols of runes, end quote. You wrote that. Is that right?
Yes.
Would that not be your words? That would be the words of Ryan Boucher?
The runes in quotation marks?
And then the next sentence is, quote, upon reviewing the photographs of Williams and German, the sticks and logs were consistent with the symbols matching runes, end quote. Is that your words, or are those your words?
Yes, at that time. If I recall correctly, the victims had sticks or logs laying over them.
In the first part of that sentence there, quote, upon reviewing the photographs of Williams and German, end quote. Do you believe you looked at the photographs of Williams and Germans and then compared them to the pictures that showed unknown young girls believed to be deceased with sticks placed over their body?
It would suggest that. I don't recall specifically.
Okay. Is it fair to say you might have had access to the crime scene photos if you wanted access to them to compare them to this photo of the unknown young girls?
I would say yes.
And then, quote, a social media picture provided by Boucher matched a symbol on a hand believed to be Holder's, end quote. Do you remember that photo?
I don't.
Okay. I'm going to hand you what's been previously marked as Defendant's Exhibit 4 on a hard sticker, if it matters, from a previous deposition, and review that for a second, and when you're ready, let me know. You ready?
Yes.
Joanna can't remember his first name either. I just want to say that. So now that you're looking at what was marked previously as Exhibit 4, does that refresh your memory? Is that what you remember?
I don't remember that.
You just don't know if that's what you're... Oh, of course. We have no idea what said, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm back to looking at that. I'm going to reread what you wrote. Quote, a social media picture provided by Boucher matches a symbol on a hand believed to be Holder's. This rune symbol on the hand matched the sticks placed on the victim in the Delphi investigation, end quote. Were those your words that I just read?
The runes would have been his words, would have been Ryan Joseph Boucher's words. Wait a minute. So Ryan Joseph Boucher, and then this trooper's name is Joseph Ryan Winters?
Yes.
Okay. But I typed that.
Okay. But Ryan Boucher, to your knowledge, did not have access to the crime scene photos.
No, if I remember correctly, I Googled this as we were talking. I was Googling all information he was giving me on Google as we were talking.
Okay. Googling like what runes are?
What runes were, what Odinism is. I think I was even trying to get on maybe a Facebook account for Holder.
Okay.
I do remember now when he called in, I was Googling that. There was a whole lot of pictures on the internet that were consistent with the things we're talking about here. So I don't know if this was a picture he sent me or a picture that was on the internet. I don't recall specifically.
Okay. And we'll get to that in a second. There's stuff at the bottom I'm going to be talking about. Before I move on, when it says, quote, this rune symbol on the hand matched the sticks placed on the victim in the Delphi investigation, end quote. That was an opinion that you placed into this document. Is that correct?
Yes.
And we know that it is because Ryan Boucher did not have access to the crime scene photos,
True.
right? Do you still have the same opinion today as you look at the side-by-side photo of the page that the rune on that, what I would represent as a hand, as you said here, matched the sticks placed on the victim?
I'm sure there's more than one picture of the victims with sticks on them. I don't know if this was the one that I was referring to or not.
Okay, let's just take out of the equation whether or not you looked at it before or not. Let's just say, looking at H as you're looking at it, do you think that H, those side-by-sides, resemble one another?
No.
They don't?
No.
But there is a photo out there, apparently, that was provided to you by Ryan Boucher, where you did believe that the symbol on the hand of this media from Holder's Media matched the sticks placed on the victim in the Delphi investigation.
I may have misspoken here. What I do remember is that the pictures I've seen on the internet of young girls that had limbs laying across them were consistent with the victims in this case having limbs laying across them. I don't know if I misspoke or why I said that, but in terms of the symbol, the tattoo, and the limbs, I think we're talking about two different things here. Oh, come the fuck on.
Interesting. So he literally puts on there the hand tattoo. And
I think this is obviously bullshit.
This is obviously bullshit. Okay, I appreciate that. Let me just make sure that we're clear on the record later on. I'm going to quote the last sentence from the 4th paragraph on the 2nd page. Quote, "This rune symbol on the hand matched the sticks placed on the victim in the Delphi investigation." End quote. Those are your words, correct?
Yes.
And therefore, is it fair for me to presume that when you get a chance to look into whatever it is that you saved, that there should be a media photo of a symbol on a hand that matches sticks that were placed on the victim in the Delphi investigation?
Can I Google what a rune is? I don't know what a rune is.
Oh my God. Oh my. Yeah, sure.
Maybe that would help us out.
Yeah, sure. Do what you need to do. You might want to look up Hegel rune if you really want to dive deep.
I never would have known that name.
Hagalrune.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense now. Yeah. He had a picture, not of the victims on his Facebook, and the Facebook had sticks laying across the girls, and those pictures were consistent with the runes, with the image.
Okay.
Yes, because Ryan provided several pictures that he had screenshot of Holder's Facebook account. And on that Facebook account, like I said, of unknown young girls, it wasn't nothing to do with our victims. It was a series of girls that had sticks laying across them.
The last sentence is the one I'm focused on. This rune symbol, I'll go to the sentence before that. So we're on the 4th paragraph, page 2. I don't know which sentence it is, but it starts with, quote, "A social media picture provided by Boucher matches a symbol on a hand believed to be Holder's. This rune symbol on the hand matched the sticks placed on the victims in the Delphi investigation." End quote. So the way I read that is, you may not have known what runes were, but what Boucher was telling you were runes. Maybe it could have read this way, quote, "The social media picture provided Boucher matched a symbol on a hand believed to be Holder's. This, what Ryan Boucher calls a rune symbol on the hand, matched the sticks placed on the victims in the Delphi investigation." End quote. What I'm expecting is that when you're able to open up those photos, is that I'm going to see this image of something marked on a hand that matches the sticks placed on the victim in the Delphi investigation. Should I be expecting to see that?
I don't know.
I mean, if you marked it down here, then I would presume
this rune symbol on the hand that matches the sticks placed on the victims. Yeah, the victims had sticks across their bodies, as we talked about in H. And the pictures in Holder's Facebook had girls with sticks laying across them, and the symbol on his hand is consistent with an Odinism rune.
There we go. Fuck. 6 pages later. It says it's consistent with sticks placed on the victim in the Delphi investigation.
I don't know.
Oh my God. Yes, you do. Well, I think it's a bit unfair because you don't have these photos access to them. So we might have to reconvene at a different point, I guess, because I think, I'll just tell you what I think, and I could be wrong. I think that is a rune image on a hand, and I think that you thought at the time that matched that on that side by side. But if I had to guess, you don't think that way now, but you did then. That's what I think, but I could be wrong because that's the only hand rune that we have in Discovery.
Hand room from what?
From Brad Holder's.
What Ryan provided?
Right. Well, what Ryan provided, which was also on Brad Holder's Facebook page.
Okay.
Because I met with Ryan down in Georgia, and this is what he said he gave to you.
You actually went to Georgia and talked to Ryan?
I sure did. Yeah, I did. So he said that that's one of the images that he gave you was that.
Do you have another image?
Yeah, the one that you looked at earlier of the girl in the purple dress, the fake. I don't know if it's fake. That one there.
This one?
Yeah, he believes that's the other one of the others that he gave you. But it could be another. There could be others because he also said that he gave you a lot of stuff. So let's just venture into that territory.
Okay.
Let's go to the next paragraph. Quote, a review of the pictures believed to be that of Holder show Holder displaying handguns and what appears to be homemade knives. Holder had a military background, end quote. Do you know if that sentence there in the 5th paragraph of page 2 is from what, are you talking about what Ryan Boucher sent you, or are you talking about what you saw independently on the internet from looking at Brad Holder's Facebook page?
I don't recall specifically.
Okay.
I remember seeing knives and I remember seeing guns, and I don't know how I came to the landing point of Holder had a military background unless there was something in the pictures that had military attire. I don't know if I would have done any search on that or not.
When it says, and when you say you don't know if you had done a search or not, I mean, earlier you said that you thought, I'm not being, I hope you don't think I'm being coming at you hard. I'm not at all. I'm just trying to figure stuff out. So you might have been on Facebook while Boucher was talking to you, trying to figure stuff out.
I was definitely Googling things as he was talking to me, sure. And I was looking up images as he was talking to me. I had no idea what Odinism was or any of the things that he was talking about. So I was Googling these things as he's talking to me.
And maybe Brad Holder's Facebook page?
Yeah, there's literally no reason that he would not go straight to Brad Holder's Facebook page.
Right. Exactly.
Maybe. It's possible. I don't know if I had Facebook in that time frame or not.
This information was forwarded directly to Lieutenant McKee. I think you said it was Holman and then McKee and then you?
No, there's 2 different areas there. Again, I was on light duty going into medical leave. I was sitting as a post commander. That's the enforcement side. Lieutenant Tom McKee was the actual post commander. So my responsibility as a post commander was when somebody called the state police to take calls and forward anything that needs to be forwarded, direct details, personnel, and manpower, and then report those things to the enforcement district commander, which is Lieutenant Tom McKee. First Sergeant Jerry Holman and investigative squad leader Steve Buckley are in investigations. Even though we're in the same building, they're in the back.
That helps me understand a little bit. When you forwarded this, it says this information was forwarded directly to Lieutenant McKee. What information would that have been?
It could have been this report.
Okay, and what would that have included what would that have included all the images that you received from Ryan Boucher as well?
I don't know if they had been received yet or not, but yes.
Okay, well, I mean, you're talking about them as if you had seen them before that.
Yeah.
So I would presume.
Yeah, I'm guessing yes. He would have saw everything. I wasn't sure if I was leaving with what my status was, and I wanted to make sure I was reporting everything for follow-up.
So you believe Lieutenant McKee would have had everything, all of these images that Ryan Boucher sent you, along with the report that you prepared?
He may not have had the finalized report because it says on here approved report. So that would have been approved at a different point, but he would have had the information conveyed to him, to his office.
What about the images?
Yeah, I would say yes, but I don't recall specifically. I don't know.
Would every lead that you received, would you forward the lead directly to Lieutenant McKee, or would they only be what you might label as interesting or good leads?
What was the date on this? April 12th? When did I generate this report? March 28th? I would say that March 28th was about my time to walk out the back door.
Okay.
So any calls I would have gotten, I would have let him know. There's calls coming in a lot, and people would go to him and say, this person called, this person called, this person called, this person called, and that would have been no different from me.
So March 28th is the date. This is where I'm confused. March 28th is the report time, but then April 12th is when you received the phone call. So what is the March 28th date at the top of page 1?
That's a good point. Unless March 28th would have been the point that 17 ISPC Charles 001748 went to the dash, and maybe that's what that is. I don't know.
God, these people are fucking morons. Would you be a good person to figure that out? Who would be a good person to figure that out if you would know?
Investigative squad leader or Jerry Holman or Steve Buckley.
I don't trust any of those fucking people.
Mm-hmm.
The next, I'm back on page 2. Quote, I spoke with Sergeant Holman on April 12th of 2017. Sergeant Holman, end quote. What's the F stand for?
First sergeant.
Okay. With First Sergeant Holman on April 12, 2017. First Sergeant Holman advised that the FBI had interviewed Holder shortly at the beginning of the investigation, end quote. Do you remember that conversation with First Sergeant Holman about the Ryan Boucher?
Yes, I believe that. I can't remember if he came in the radio room or he was in the back hallway, but I remember pointing out the information to him.
Would that have included pointing out the information, including the images that Ryan Boucher had sent to you?
I don't recall.
So that's the same day that, according to your narrative, that Ryan Boucher called and talked to you and sent these images to you, was also the same day that you talked to First Sergeant Holman about the Ryan Boucher phone call. Is that correct?
Yes.
Just tell me anything you can remember about your conversation with First Sergeant Holman after you had talked to Ryan Boucher about the Ryan Boucher phone call.
I feel like I was packing my stuff up and leaving when he came in the back door. I told him that a person had called in with this information. I can't remember what it was, but Jerry Holman told me that they had already interviewed or that they had looked into this Odinism or they had talked to, I can't think of his name, Holder. Either they had talked to him or they were aware about the Odinism. The FBI had already followed up on what I had generated.
Was it your belief that Holder had already been eliminated as a suspect at the time when you talked to Holman?
Oh, I had no idea. I don't know.
Here's the way I'm thinking. I'm reading that paragraph that starts with the words, quote, the provided media pictures show unknown young girls believed to be deceased with sticks placed over their bodies, end quote. That entire paragraph, I'm just imagining that you have compared, obviously you had compared those photos to the crime scene photos, and that the symbols on the hand, according to your report here, match the sticks placed on the victim of the Delphi investigation, and you're like, wow, this could be a big deal. This could be a big deal. Because this is matching. Some of this matches the crime scene that nobody knows about. I better do something about this. I better talk to Holman, and I better make sure that this gets some legs before I go on leave. Was that your thought process at the time?
Like I said earlier, I think from my knowledge, I wasn't a part of the investigation. I was aside. That to my knowledge, that was the first time that I had heard there was a motive, and even people from the area may have known the victims, which is what he put out here. And of course, whenever you're conducting an investigation, those are the things you're looking for. And so you have a person, according to Ryan Boucher, who may know the victims. According to Ryan Boucher, there's a person's name who lives in the immediate area that may have direct ties with the victim. So yeah, that was...
And knew about and had posted stuff on his Facebook page that matched the crime scene. That's also part of your analysis, I would presume.
I think that he had a pagan belief that is always concerning.
Yeah, and a weirdo, I would label that as a weirdo photo if that's what you ended up pulling up later on when you're able to have access to it. The girl in the purple dress, okay.
I think this is me. Remember, I was getting my stuff. I can't remember if he walked in the radio room or the hallway or how that worked out, but I remember telling him about a call that just came in. And I think during that time from Delphi that anyone was getting calls and everyone was, just doing everything they could to complete as much information as you can and pass it on. Everyone was just passing on information, even the ones that were crazy about the UFOs, even things that were, somebody had a similarity to whatever. Everyone was just putting it out there for everyone to know.
Suffice it to say, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but you got off the phone with Ryan Boucher after having talked to him and reviewed the images that he had sent you, thinking this could be a big deal. Is that fair to say?
As a potential lead, a follow-up lead.
So the answer is yes, that you did think, yeah, this needs to be followed up on as soon as you said earlier.
I don't know if big deal would be the word, but yeah, it's something that needs to be followed up on. There's a lot of things in this career that people think is a big deal, and you get to a point where, it's not a big deal until you get to people are like, oh, it's a big deal. And once you start picking it apart, it's not a big deal. So in terms of this being your words, big deal, I don't know if I'd say big deal, but there's information that needed to be followed up on. That's the key to investigation, is following up.
And then the next thing, quote, request that Brad W. Holder be re-interviewed, end quote. Is that your request or was that somebody else's request?
Yeah, what we generally do is supplements that are, how do I explain this? As a road trooper, strike that. As we close out a supplement and it's getting reviewed, so up here when you look at this, not for public release, approved report 1, we talked about this earlier, an approved report, somebody will approve this report at that time frame because the magnitude of this case. I don't know who was approving those reports, but kind of a trend that I came from a different generation from the guys now, but you would put into your narrative, example, request detective follow up on this, request that this be forwarded to Indianapolis, request that this be forwarded to wherever. In this particular case, because I had no knowledge of whether or not he was interviewed, other than the FBI had looked into it, I requested that he be re-interviewed just because I had no idea what it was. I wanted to close out my supplement to say, hey, I don't know where this is, but if this person has or has not been interviewed or needs to be re-interviewed, then I'm making that request. Because Ryan Winters is not following up on this case, because Ryan Winters is going out the back door.
All right. I have to go. I don't think we made it even halfway, did we?
We have 9 pages.
That's it? Oh, shit. I can't stay, though. She can't wait. She can't stay there.
Can you get on your phone so you can end it?
I can. You want to just read? Or do you want, is there anybody else that can come up and read with you?
Well, if they can, let us know. You go, but join on your phone so you can end, and I'll just keep reading.
Okay.
I don't even know who this is. Is this Baldwin?
Yeah, it's Baldwin.
Baldwin says, well, it sounds like Holman had already told you that the FBI had interviewed him. So is it fair to say you felt that based upon what Ryan Boucher had sent you and the information that Ryan Boucher had given you, that it was worth Brad Holder being re-interviewed? And Winters says, yes, I have no idea. I had no idea who the FBI folks were. I don't know their capabilities or even what level they put in. There's different levels of interviews, whether it's a soft interview, a hard interview, and I had no idea whether they had any of this. You can assume that they do because they're FBI, but we've made that assumption before with other people and it's not correct. So yes, I wanted to make sure all the stuff I captured up here, maybe he should re-interviewed if he wasn't interviewed already. Or if he was interviewed, to what extent was he interviewed? And Baldwin says, would you have expected after you requested that Brad Holder be re-interviewed that he would be re-interviewed? And Winters says, it's a request. Yeah, I'm sure they would. But there have been cases in my career where you've asked, as a road trooper, asked for a detective to take the case and they don't take the case. So there's a lot of requests you can make, but you're still not an important person. Baldwin says, that's all the questions I have. Rosie says, nothing. McClellan says, I don't have anything. And then Baldwin says, by the way, would you please, I mean, you don't have to, but we really need to figure out what those images were. And I know maybe if you could get to a better internet place, if you could get those and forward those to Nick, that would be terrific. And Winters says, I forwarded all those pictures on the day in that investigation when I was leaving to Pam Guy. I can only assume that there would be something on here for Pam Guy that would have maybe her pictures, that she put them in a file or something. I don't know. And Rosie says, you said she's still working at the... And Winter says, no, she retired 5 years ago. She's older. That means she's probably dead. She's older. I don't want to throw an age out there on the record. And Rosie says, help me when you say you would have forwarded them to her. Would it have been like an ISP email or a personal email? Winter says, what an attachment is, I don't have an example here. If I get consent to search, I get that consent to search and I put it in her folder on her cabinet or her drawer. And it has a case number at the top of it. And so she gets that attachment, she looks at it, sees the case number, and she knows this is an attachment. So she has a little box inside of her desk that we would put attachments in her drawer So I would have printed these off and I would put them. Y'all, does that sound familiar at all? Rosie says, oh, you would have given her actual hard copies? And Winter says, she would have had hard copies. The ones I opened, I could not see any. I did not have access to the attachments in her. But if you look, my report has her name affiliated with them. And Baldwin says, do you, if when she retired, would her stuff that she would input somewhere, would that go to somebody else? Or would it just be out there somewhere? Miku. Amanda. The box in a drawer in the desk. Winter says, yeah, I have no idea. And Baldwin says, thank you. And Rosie says, do you want to review and sign? And Winter says, what's that? And Baldwin says, do you want to review your words to see if they're typed out accurately? And Winter says, you mean like a certified copy? Yes. And that's it. And Teresa's not back yet. Oh, you're here. We're done. And scene.
Is this the right me?
Yep.
Okay, there's multiple me's, so I didn't know which one. I was trying to add me, and then I was not that. It was not the right one.
I can't remove the other U's. There's 3
Yeah.
U's.
Yeah, there's a
But
whole
you're-
bunch of me's, so it is
Yeah.
what it is. Okay, so what was the end result of that? Because I didn't get done.
Oh, you didn't get
Besides,
to hear.
I heard the tip in the drawer, the tip in the
Okay,
box.
that's, to me, that's the most important. Because that's absolute bullshit. But, you know. Sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, just put the tip in the box. Put the box in the drawer. So ultimately, he was not helpful or conducive to
No, and in the very
figuring anything
beginning,
out.
I was just fixing to say, like in the first several pages, I'm like, okay, he's like fairly straightforward
No.
and transparent.
Yeah.
And then I was glad I didn't say it because then he wasn't.
Okay.
Now I need to look and see if this Pam guy is dead.
Yeah, is Pam Guy dead?
Pam Guy, Indiana.
And did like any of her stuff go to Kathy?
Pamela Guy obituary.
Oh, jeez.
She died. Well, this can't be her.
Why?
Oh, Pamela Guy Hammond. Oh, wait.
Wait,
Pamela Guy
no.
Hammond, Indiana. Pamela Guy, age 48, of Hammond, Indiana, passed away on Monday, April 4th, 2011. So that can't be it. Then there's Pam Guy, Secretary for it, State of Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah, she was the secretary.
But that's just a LinkedIn. So there's a Pam Guy. Okay, Pam Guy, Alt, A-U-L-T, former retired at Indiana State Police. And her Facebook thing is a badge, an Indiana State Police badge.
Okay.
Lives in Lafayette, from Logansport, and the last time she posted on Facebook was April 28th, 2023.
So she's alive.
Well, as of April 28th, 2023. This deposition was August something of 2023, so she could have been dead at the time of the...
Pretty sure it was like August 23rd.
Yeah.
All right.
annoying. We're done reading.
Okay. Well,
We
that's
did
good, at
pretty
least.
good. There was only a couple pages left for me to read.
Bob's, I'll read. Yeah, only because you know now that it's over. I saw you up there, you're like, I can't read.
My ears hurt.
Yeah, no, we're done. Okay, I'm driving. So, as always, thank you guys for hanging out with us. And we know that you have 1,000 other places you could spend your time, and you choose to spend your time here with us. And we appreciate you and love you for all of your support. And I love you, Sleuthy. Thank you for finishing that off. I was kind of nervous about how we were going to end it. But I will hit the end button from the phone. Go enjoy the rest of your Friday. I have no idea who's doing lives and who isn't. So if you have a good live out there somewhere, let us know, and maybe we'll see you there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Love you. Bye.
Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown. Down the rabbit hole. Where it stops, no